In your situation, they file for disability benefits and are unnecessarily denied their much-needed benefit check. Call now for a no-obligation, free evaluation. We can help you nearly double your chances of approval and get your benefit checks faster. We understand the physical, emotional, and financial impact. We'll share our insider expertise and help you get your disability claim filed and paid immediately. There is a time limit to apply, so call right now. Operators are standing by to help you.
800-968-1275. 800-968-1275. 800-968-1275. That's 800-968-1275.
In baseball, every great team builds from the farm system up. Because when your MVP pulls a hamstring or your starter can't finish the inning, you don't panic. You bring up someone prepared.
This is your Progressive Backup Protection Sports Update.
That's what real backup protection does for your business. It's not just sitting on the bench. It's trained, it's tested, it's ready for the big leagues at a moment's notice. And now, a list of things from Progressive Insurance. Home, auto, boat, motorcycle, RV, ATV. Progressive protects them all. Learn more about bundling at Progressive.com.
You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loaders from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best. And this machine has it all, with features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Thompson Tractor knows how much value you place on your customer satisfaction. It's how you build your business. It's also how we build ours. Since 1957, hardworking folks like you have counted on Thompson to provide the absolute best lineup of equipment in the industry, all backed by a customer service and product support team that time and again have proven to be second to none. It's all about maintaining peak performance. Always has been, always will be. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor, we're here for you.
The Orthopedic Center. It's in the name. TOC, the premier choice for all your orthopedic needs. With over 40 physicians and 20 centers of excellence, TOC is the name to trust for complete, expert orthopedic care. And that word center, we mean it. With more than a dozen locations across North Alabama and the Tennessee Valley, TOC is in your community whenever you need us. As the state's largest orthopedic practice, TOC is built on trust. Trust we've earned with every patient we serve. You can see that trust on the field, too. As the official sports medicine provider for the Huntsville Havoc, Huntsville City Football Club, Oakwood and Alabama A&M universities, thousands of athletes and coaches count on TOC to keep them in the game. From student athletes to unexpected injuries, our urgent ortho clinics offer prompt, expert care. No appointment necessary. So remember, when it comes to your health and mobility, trust the name that says it all. TOC, helping you live a better life.
This hour of Talkin Ball is brought to you by Talent Heating and Air. When you need service, rely on Talent. From system installations to tune-ups, rely on Talent. Online at talenthvac.com.
AL cert number 21014.
Welcome into the hottest and coolest game show around called The Freeze. Today's contestant, Bob. Bob, can you tell me the heating and air business that provides free service with repair?
Is it Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
Can you tell me which heating and air business provides free second opinions?
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning.
You are our grand prize winner. You have won a visit from the #1 heating and air business in the Tennessee Valley.
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
That's right. Talent Heating and Air is coming to you.
This is Thomas with Talent Heating and Air Conditioning, and you don't have to win a game show to use us. We have free second opinions year-round, and we're doing free service calls with a repair. So just remember, call Talent Heating and Air Conditioning at 256-503-4490 or visit us on our website at talenthvac.com.
Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. It is time to get going. Another show off and running, a Thursday edition show. 71 degrees as you head into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Thursday. Your high today is going to be 84 in the Tennessee Valley. There is rain in the forecast. Don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but there is rain in the forecast for today. In fact, there's rain in the forecast every day until Monday. Talent Heating and Air can help you stay cool this summer. 256-503-4490. TalentHVAC.com. You can get a tune-up. You can get all this stuff. If you need a new system, ask them for a rebate. They've got all kinds. They can hook you up. Tune-up, system installation, natural gas, ductwork, service and repair, indoor air quality. Thomas, Terry, Jeremy. When you need service, rely on the company your friends and neighbors choose. Talent Heating and Air, TalentHVAC.com. A lot of stuff to get through here on a Thursday, 256-576-4977. You can join us throughout the 3-hour extravaganza. SEC spring meetings wrapping up in Destin. Action from the College World Series gets under. Women's Softball World Series gets underway tonight. We've got college baseball to preview. We've got all kinds of stuff to get through here this morning. They did announce Week 3 kickoff times. We knew Alabama's Week 1. We knew Auburn's Week 1 and Week 2 kickoff times. Week 3 kickoff times also announced. Now we know that Alabama and Florida State will for sure be a 2:30 game on ABC. LSU Ole Miss, we know for sure 6:30 kickoff on ABC. You've got John Summerall coming to Auburn that night, Week 3, 6 p.m. on ESPN. So we know those games. A little bit of angst, though, with that schedule because Hunter Yurachek.
And he is the spokesman for the College Football Playoff Committee, so you know now what's wrong with college football because he shouldn't even have, first of all, the Arkansas job, and second of all, sure as hell shouldn't be the guy that speaks for the College Football Playoff Committee. The guy's a pansy ass. Okay, now tell everybody what he did.
Well, so Arkansas has to travel to take on Utah in Week 2, the September 12th game. That game is a 9:15 kickoff in Utah. Well, then they follow that up, and they have to host Georgia in Week 3, and it's an 11 a.m. game kickoff on ABC, okay? So Hunter Yurachek yesterday releases a release that a long statement denouncing the kickoff times as a clear neglect for the well-being of college athletes, saying the focus must be on the well-being of the game's participants, not the bottom line of our media partner. He says the announced schedule will cost our student athletes nearly a full day of rest and recovery that they would have otherwise had available to them. This is not simply a competitive disadvantage. It is a genuine welfare issue for the young men who represent our program and contribute greatly to the bottom line of our television partners.
I'm just going to say this because that's the seasons they're coming off of, so I'm going to use them for examples. But is moron of the year candidate Hunter Yurachek going to say that if they're playing South Carolina or Kentucky?
No, he went on to say, I am confident that there are not many other programs in the SEC that would be placed in a similar position, and I will not quietly accept it for our program.
Well, you know, we should have had Stacks over there have the queued up for the Looney Tunes when no. The Looney Tune I'm talking about is when they did the three little pigs and wee all the way home. That's what they should have had because that's what he's doing. I mean, if he represented my athletic department, I would want him immediately canned. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you're telling me you don't have 5 days to prepare and get ready and you're going to be sleep deprived. I mean, give me a break. You're going to sleep on the plane, Hoss. It's not like you're flying commercially, you moron.
It's not like you can't use it anymore because they're no longer around.
I mean,
but the joke was you can't. It's not like you're flying Spirit.
No, I mean,
but they're not around anymore.
The Walton family or something, man. They'll pay for
you're
something.
You're flying on a charter plane
or Tyson Chicken. Call somebody. You'll be fine. I mean, come on. It's because you suck. That's why, and you're afraid you're going to continue to suck. And I agree with Nathan King. He's like, bruh, they're going to name their score no matter what time y'all play. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
well, it's like Greg Sankey stood up there and he's like, look, we have to give, this is part of, we delegate some of that authority to the TV contracts.
Yeah, and that's what happened with the Utah game because Utah is in the Big 12.
Yes, and so the SEC does not control
when
that
they're
one.
Kick off.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I mean, good grief. Yeah.
So what do you want? Does Yurachek want them to move the LSU Ole Miss game to 11 a.m.?
I didn't even look. Who's Georgia playing the week before that? And what time are they playing?
So we can, let's see here.
Because I'm sure all three of their games have been announced now. I mean, they're releasing these kickoff games all over the league.
Yeah, by the way, for those that really want to know the rest of the kickoff times, June 10th is when they will announce the rest of the games. So hold on to June 10th. Georgia will kick off at 11:45 against Western Kentucky the week before.
Okay, now he's going to complain because Georgia's only playing Western Kentucky. But Western Kentucky goes to more bowl games than Arkansas lately, or at least, and they certainly named their score against Arkansas several years ago.
Right.
I mean, it's just embarrassing. I'm sorry. I was, of course, paying close attention to Jeff Goodman yesterday because of the deadline of the NBA draft and having to pull out of the draft. And he even commented on it. He goes, "This sounds awfully soft." And I was like, I would agree.
It is awfully, awfully soft.
I mean, come on.
But he issues a statement. He is probably there in Destin,
I'm sure,
at the spring meetings.
He better be. If he's not, then somebody should just bitch slap him and fire him now. What are you doing? Get your ass over there. Hunter, you're a dumb.
But why not just pull Greg Sankey aside and be like, hey, man, these kickoff times are killing us.
It doesn't matter.
Why do you?
Who cares? I mean, Nick Saban never whined when Alabama became so good that miraculously everybody was getting a bye before they played Alabama. Was Nick Saban bitching? I don't think so. He just went out and knocked everybody's teeth out of their head. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Where? We got to play at 11 o'clock after getting beat by Utah, probably and embarrassing the conference. Where?
Oh, Hunter Yurachek, always good for a laugh, is he not? The rest of the games that weekend, by the way, Kentucky's at Texas A&M. That is a 2:30 kick. You got Mississippi State at South Carolina, a 3:15 kick on SEC Network. You got Kennesaw State at Tennessee, NC State at Vanderbilt, Troy's at Missouri. There you go.
Well, and by the way, speaking of that, I'd like to give regards and good luck in her future roles at the ESPN, and I'm sure she'll keep doing NFL Live and the other roles she plays, and probably even sideline reporting in big-time college football games because she does a great job with that. But after 10 years of hosting SEC Nation, though I don't watch it a whole lot, I don't even watch a game day a whole lot. I'll be blunt with all that. I was in my younger days. I watched a lot of game day, and SEC Nation is about 10 years old now because she started it when SEC Network is about 10 years old now. But Laura Rutledge, great job. She's always done a great job. She is one person that is good at her job at ESPN and is talented and deserves all the accolades and kudos that she gets. Of course, she's Josh Rutledge's wife as well. Josh Rutledge, a Coleman native, played at Alabama baseball-wise, played in the big leagues for several years. But, great family. But congrats to her
Yep.
as she continues to climb the ladder in sports media. And I think,
Matt Berry's taken her place. Yep.
Is taking over with SEC Nation, and hopefully he'll do a better job than Joel Klatt with Fox.
Well, Greg Sankey did have a message yesterday. About the conference, and we have been poking fun at the Big Ten for a few months now, and the Big Ten has been poking fun at the SEC for a few months now, in case you have missed it. But Greg Sankey did not go quietly yesterday in defending his conference.
And let's go back to the Peach Bowl. Was it January 1st, 2022? Field goal sales left. Georgia wins. We're great. The margins are so thin. So Michigan beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl in overtime. Last year, you look at the Texas-Ohio State game. Texas scores. There's a screenplay, breaks the game open. You go to possessions in the red zone, really close, and there's a turnover. And I use those, and this year the ball's in the air, Ole Miss, Miami. I'm standing in the end zone, pretty good grab. That wasn't a Hail Mary, that was an attempt to score a touchdown on the last play. I mean, those are small margins between winning and losing. We prevailed on those small margins a number of times. You think about the onside kick in Phoenix in 2016 against Clemson. You kind of go down the line. We had some blowouts. If you look at the entirety of our league, we are by far the most competitive, the strongest football league, by far. But you're going to lose games when it's close and competitive like that. So why have they surpassed us? It's an oddball. It's bounced a couple times the wrong way. Indiana was pretty dominant in the Rose Bowl last year. A lot of other games you look pretty close margin, and we've been the beneficiary on those. And I don't think that, hey, if we win, you don't ask me the question. It's like when Florida was down 14 to Houston in the second half in the national championship game in San Antonio. If you look at me, I've got my head in my hands because I know the first question is going to be, you had this great basketball season, and is it really now a disappointment because you didn't win the national championship? I'm sure that's the first question. You know, the first question I got after that game, hey, when Florida was down, if they hadn't won, would the season have been a disappointment? But those are about the margins. And you know what I said? I said, the beauty is I don't have to answer that question because they won. But in a competitive environment, the margins are going to be thin, and we've come up on the short end. And I can assure you that everyone in this league is trying to figure out how to come up on the top end of that in the future. But I think from a big picture, the breadth, the depth of this league stands alone. In fact, we saw metrics out of the college football playoff presentation where there's no doubt the strongest league. Now, there's some segments of other leagues that are towards where we are, but not nearly the entirety of a conference like the Southeastern Conference. It's a pretty special place.
I would agree. I mean, like I said, my main bone to pick with Sankey has been how he handled the Alabama basketball situation and how he needs to handle Will Wade and his BS at LSU. But from a football perspective, I think Sankey's done everything right, no doubt about it. And again, that is the funny part about and you know, we've had blowback on this show. We've had people call in and raise hell about us criticizing the Big Ten and taking shots at them. But look, man, he just laid it all out there. They're not embarrassing the SEC. I mean, certainly Indiana embarrassed Alabama.
Yes.
And that happens. And Indiana had a special football team, had a great team. And I thought Indiana the year before wasn't nearly as good, and that's why they got smashed by Notre Dame. But certainly they were the best team last year, and I've said that. But he's right, though. Look, when you go back and watch the games, besides Alabama, Indiana, it hasn't been a bunch of embarrassments. I mean, certainly Ohio State soundly whipped Tennessee a couple of years ago on their way to the national championship. But again, and my point, though, is the Big Ten does have 3 or 4 really good teams, really good programs.
Yes, they do.
And sometimes more than that. Sometimes Penn State can be added to the conversation. Of course, they weren't last year. But then neither was Michigan. And Michigan a couple years ago won the national championship when they stole signs from everybody and cheated their way to the top like Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. But I was watching that again last night, and hell, I got all caught up in that when I was younger in '98. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Oh, I did the home run battle. Yes,
but everybody
saved baseball. By the way, brought baseball back.
It did,
yes.
But everybody knew in the back of their mind what was happening, though. Like you had to admit it to yourself, like. This is awesome, like watching this, all the energy in the ballpark. But everybody knew, you know what I'm saying? Just like when Bonds broke it a few years later, everybody knew what was going on then.
Right.
I mean, so look, but the Michigan still won it. They're not going to take it away from them. But deep down, they know what they did. And it helped them win a national championship. But then Ohio State wins it. They had a great team. Indiana had a great team. Congratulations. But it's like I've said about Kentucky basketball from an SEC perspective. I've, taken shots at them, poked them because Alabama's won 4 in a row against them. But I know they're going to get back to the top. It's too important to them. I've said it repeatedly. They're still a blue blood basketball program. They always will be. And the SEC is going to get back atop college football. I understand all this money that the Big Ten's got, but another thing, I don't think you've gone over it yet this morning, is Sankey was asked about, does he think that the SEC media rights contract is undervalued?
Yes.
He said yes. In other words, they're
worth more than what they're getting.
So you know what's coming. They're going to get
another
more
rights deal, and they're going to get some more money out of it.
Right.
And but see, that was the whole point of more 9 conference games, too, was the fact that it would be worth.
That would increase the TV contract, though. And that's the other thing people got to understand. Everybody's like, the Big Ten, they've got their 9-game schedules. Well, now the SEC is going to have theirs, and they're going to reap financial benefit
yes,
from it.
They are.
People may complain, and B. Rich made a good point yesterday about, I wish they had stayed at 8, but I don't mind them going to 9 because, like I said yesterday, though, they and B. Rich his main point was eating your own and not putting
being
yourself
told
in
that you're going to do 9, being told yes,
and just not being able having as many teams maybe potentially make the playoff because of how the committee views it, and then it was leaked out yesterday that a lot of the coaches. After meeting with the college football playoff committee members, weren't really happy with how they were going to view strength of schedule. Well, that better change in a hurry. That's all I'm going to say because that you have to. Every league is different, and you have to view strength of schedule. It's viewed as very important in all the other sports, and it better start being important on in college football. I will give the committee credit. It's the only thing I gave them credit for last year. They finally used common sense. Now. They took a long way to circumvent and get around to it. But, Miami deserved to be in over Notre Dame.
Yes, it did because they won the head-to-head.
They won the head-to-head, and Notre Dame beat nobody of consequence, okay? And once again, Notre Dame's going to have a very advantageous schedule this year, and then the rules were changed or tweaked again. If they're in the top 12, they have to be in. Well, like I say, They better hope they're good because it doesn't really matter if they have to put you in if you win a certain amount of games because you're still going to get exposed. And so that's what I mean. So like I say, I think the SEC is going to bounce back. The SEC already dominates every other sport pretty much that matters. And so, hell, even Jeff from the Burroughs University a couple years ago won the volleyball, and the SEC is not known as a volleyball power.
No, it's not. No, it's the Big Ten. The Big Ten and the former Pac-12 teams have dominated that sport, and right now Nebraska, Wisconsin, they're dominating women's volleyball.
Yeah, they are, and certainly, some of the West Coast schools still have something to say about that too. But again, that's just the way it works. But the SEC is not that far off. That's what I'm saying. We'll see if the Big Ten can keep this up because, again, as you've seen, Michigan has taken a couple of steps back. We'll see if Whittingham can get them back quickly, but they certainly weren't a contender last year. Used Car Franklin lost his job because Penn State fell on their face. The Big Ten was very and Indiana, I was thinking about Indiana this morning. As a university, they're very fortunate. And it's funny about timing, Scott.
Yeah.
Because, in my opinion, they botched it in basketball because Dusty May should be coaching Indiana, okay?
Yes.
Because of his lineage and history, but they botched it, all right? And now he's coaching Michigan in their same conference. But on the flip side, they hire Kurt Cignetti, and they had no idea what I think they felt really good about it, but nobody in their right mind, and we know how much we love Tom Brew and what he brought us and the insight he gave us, but I think he would freely admit, because he's grown up an Indiana grad and a fan and even a season ticket holder, nobody realized that they were about to go 27-2 and win a national championship. Nobody.
No.
Because most of them didn't even know who the hell he was, and that he even coached for Nick Saban. But timing it can be everything.
It is.
It can be the luck, and then you have a booster like Mark Cuban and others, and John Cougar Mellencamp and all of them.
Well,
that step up and pay Cignetti to stay, because we all know this, Scott. It's all about commitment.
Right.
If Indiana did not tell Cignetti last year, Coach, you've done an amazing job. What you've done is unprecedented. We're going to commit to you and pay you $13 million a year, he would have gone to Penn State or Michigan. He would have been gone, Scott, if it had still been, well, this is great and everything, but we're a basketball school and we're not going to step up. But you have to step up and look, if Alabama hadn't stepped up, Nate Oates would have been gone years ago.
Well,
years ago.
Yeah. We got to get a break in, but timing, remember, timing. Nick Saban gets Drew Brees in Miami.
I don't even want to think about it.
Timing. I mean, I'm just thinking. That's the first thing that comes to mind in my mind when it comes to timing.
And thank goodness Rich Rodriguez's wife freaked out.
And timing. Yep. Timing. It's all about timing.
And what's so funny, though, is where's Rich Rod now? He comes all the way back
to West Virginia.
He never should have left.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? All right, got to get a break in. 7:23. More conversation on the other side. 256-576-4977.
Because he had it rolling. It.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
When you're craving a juicy, made-to-order burger with all your favorite toppings, it's time to head to Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Fresh, never-frozen, hand-formed patties, crispy, fresh-cut fries, savory hot dogs, and topped off with an ice-cold real milkshake. Five Guys knows what you like. Come and get it in Huntsville on North Parkway and on Enterprise, and in Madison on Moonshot Drive and Highway 72. Order online at fiveguys.com or just walk in. Five Guys. Perfection every time. These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If you need masonry, brick, stone, or block work, Eagle should be your first call. They can even help if your property needs grading, erosion control, and Eagle can handle dirt haul-off. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
If you've ever been in a car wreck, it almost feels like being in a movie. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. I know your accident is the real thing, and they happen to real people every day.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. There's a lot of talk right now about bigger, but when you've had a wreck and need a lawyer, is bigger better?
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family.
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. Having thousands of cases is impressive, but do you want to be just a case number, one with lots of digits?
Or do you need a lawyer who gets to know you? With offices in Huntsville and Scottsboro, when you've been injured, we take the time to help.
Even in your hospital room.
Because at the Lackey Law Firm, you're not a number. We treat you like family, because that's what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
And if you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
I would like to declare a burger war on zone deals with Five Guys Burgers and Fries and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, and may the best burger win. Just head over to 977ESPN.com and click on the zone deals and decide for yourself.
Welcome back in. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, welcome back in. And we ended that break talking about timing, and it's kind of funny. You start going over the history of things, and I know we got a lot of other stuff to get through, but it's like timing of coaches coming in, players coming in, and Greg Sankey talking about a razor thin line of outcomes. Timing is about that same thing. I mean, it's a razor thin timing on a lot of these hires and a lot of these players coming in. And it kind of makes you just kind of go, well, I wonder what would have happened if the timing would have been a little bit different in some of these cases.
Man, we talked about it yesterday. I mean, everything fell in place for Dabo Swinney to get the Clemson job. And then,
timing.
And then he got off to a slow start, and then he had to fire, make some changes on his coaching staff, no doubt about it. And so, that happens. I mean, he kind of got off to the kind of where he is right now, which is mediocre. His beginning was mediocre.
Right.
And so, but he had to make some changes. He made them. He brought some new blood in on his coaching staff, and it worked. And certainly, and probably the biggest hire during his tenure there was Brent Venables, who kind of wanted to go and spread his wings and do his own thing after being under Mike Stoops at Oklahoma.
Yeah,
and so
that's true.
He hired Venables and really kind of turned their defense around. So
do you put Bobby Bowden in the timing of Florida State? In that equation as well?
He had already turned Florida State around and turned them into a national championship contender. He hadn't won a championship, but, I mean, he almost left for Alabama, around 87. But he then, 6, 7 years later, he wins his first national title in 93, and then he wins one late in his tenure at Florida State at 99. And he's, considered the greatest coach in FSU history by a mile, and one of the greatest of all time and greatest of his era. So it's funny how things like that work out. Nick Saban was on his way to doing that at LSU, but wanted to scratch his NFL itch, decided to do that. And then you made a good point. He didn't get Drew Brees. He got Dante Culpepper. That didn't work out. And then his wife was unhappy, and so they go back to the college game. And by the time he decides he wants to come back, Alabama's getting ready to potentially make a coaching change because they knew that Mike Shula was a bridge. He was trying to get them through sanctions and probation. But they, Mal Moore, the late Mal Moore, he freely said it. Like, this was probably the most crucial hire in Alabama football history because if you wanted to get back to the highest level, which is where Coach Bryant had Alabama, you had to make the perfect hire. And Nick Saban was that because much like Coach Bryant, he was the voice of the football program. He outworked everybody. Just like Coach Bryant basically did a lot of that when he was the head coach. And, they changed rules when Coach Bryant was there to try to even things out. And, they stopped letting you sign unlimited guys. They made roster limits. And then when Nick Saban's at Alabama, they put in they get rid of the bump rule. They changed the calendar around. They try to do a lot of different things, but Nick Saban always figured it out. And certainly Coach Saban, it was a combination of factors that we've already talked about ad nauseum as to why he retired.
Yeah.
But, I do think if all this had happened when he was in his early 60s or even late 50s, he would have figured it out. And he would have, because he was always a guy that figured it out. And everybody acts like he left right before NIL. Now, NIL had already started, and he had already started combating it. But there was just a lot of different factors that went into him finally deciding to hang it up. And he always said he wanted to leave the program in a really good spot when he did.
And he did.
And he did. And I know DeBoer's gotten some criticism because there's people that, and it's inaccurate, by the way, saying they had one of the best rosters or the best roster in college football. They didn't have the best roster. They had a really good roster. But there's always going to be a transition period when you make a head coaching change, and that's just the way that it works.
So much so, Greg Byrne had to defend again the contract extension that he gave Kalen DeBoer at spring meetings. He was asked about that and had to defend it again yesterday, why they gave Kalen DeBoer a contract extension.
Well, and he's not going to answer it like this or fire it back, but I can just ask any of those people. It's a yes or no question. Was Michigan and Penn State, would they have hired Kalen DeBoer? And if you say no, I'm going to bitch slap you because you're too stupid.
We're slapping everybody today.
Because I'm sorry.
We're slapping everybody.
I'm not in the mood for stupidity this morning. If you sit there and say, well, I don't know. I think that was a bunch of agent talk and they didn't really want it. That's a bunch of bull crap. Why do you think both of them waited so long to make the hire? They could have hired Matt Campbell in 48 hours.
I am sure Matt Campbell was number one on their list.
Easy.
Yeah. Matt Campbell was not the first choice for Penn State.
And this is another yes or no question. Kyle Whittingham did a great job.
He was not Michigan's number one choice
at Utah, but was he not? Was he not retired when Michigan hired him?
Yes.
In other words, they could have hired him in 48 hours.
Yes, they could have had him a long time ago. They could have had him well before he left. Decided to step away from Utah.
Yeah. I mean, because I think he had, much like Coach Saban, he had done everything he could at Utah. Now, he didn't win a national championship, but he certainly kept it very competitive.
He elevated that Utah program, yes.
And I think they were both ready for a separation.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, after is he still going to coach? Of course, because the Michigan job's open. And I think he's a really good fit there. It'll be interesting to see how he does.
It's about timing. See, it's about timing on that one. I guarantee you, Michigan was not looking at Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham retires, and all of a sudden, Michigan looking at Kyle Whittingham.
And first of all, we were talking about this going to break, and we've had him on the show. I love Rich Rod. I think he's great. I meant what I said. He should have never left West Virginia. He had it cooking, and he went to Michigan, and it was terrible. And I think, hiring Kyle Whittingham was a much better hire in fifth than when they hired, Rich Rod. Thank the Lord Alabama didn't hire Rich Rod because I don't think he would have been a great fit either.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, we'll get out to some phone calls, 256-576-4977. It's 7:34 on a Thursday morning in the Tennessee Valley.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy and overcast sky again this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 80s. It is also going to be incredibly humid across the Tennessee Valley. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible at any given point during the afternoon, the evening, and then as we head into the overnight, temperatures drop into the upper 60s. Upper 70s for your Friday. Better opportunity for widespread rain.
Your Fox 54 weather. Only on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still looking amazingly well across the Tennessee Valley traffic-wise. We're looking at I-65 right now, basically from south of Coleman all the way to the Tennessee line. It's looking great. Coming in from Athens, you're looking great. You won't find any slow traffic till you get into the downtown Madison area. Actually out on 72, just traffic lights and heavy traffic there. Looking good on 565 with no major delays. Just continue up the good work, and maybe we'll have an accident-free morning. I think I just blew it. Is the purchase of a home in your future? Protect yourself when you're making the biggest investment of your life. From the peak of the roof to the bottom of the foundation, the electrical, the plumbing, the air conditioning, and everything in between. Call Cruise Home Inspection and get some peace of mind. 256-529-4207. 256-529-4207. From the Rock Creek Production Studios, your wedding DJ specialist, I'm David Cruz, Mr. Traffic.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement, it's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
On Saturday, May 30th, the best wrestlers on the planet take flight in Rocket City. The high-flying action of AEW returns to Huntsville for the first time in over 1 year. Saturdays are for Collision. And on Saturday, May 30th, Huntsville is all elite. AEW Collision, live from Von Braun Civic Center. Tickets on sale now, starting at just $20 at AEWTIX.com.
Cummins has kept the world running for more than 100 years. Since their founding in 1919, Cummins has been dedicated to leading the charge towards a future with smarter, cleaner power. Cummins sales and service locations are right where you need them when you need your engine or generator set service. And now, Cummins has a new Huntsville branch opening June 10th. They're located on Highway 31 in Tanner, just north of Calhoun College. Cummins expert technicians will keep you up and running. Call them at 205-808-2210.
No Wi-Fi?
How are we going to stream the game?
Mom, I have a research project due.
How are we going to make dinner?
Don't let power outages send your family into a meltdown. Get a Generac generator from Current Electrical. We keep your lights on and your Wi-Fi on. Visit gensuperstore.com or call 256-880-1880. Trust us, your family will thank you.
Most current way to keep your power on. GeneracSuperstore.com.
Listen to the Rocket City Trash Pandas all season long.
Swung on lifted, deep left, back goes O'Donnell, he looks up, it's done, and it's over! Denzer again, the goose is loose!
Trash Panda Baseball is only on Talk Radio WZZN.
Yesterday we did 3 hours. Woo! Zoomed right on by here on Talkin Ball. Our Thursday show is feeling the same way as we are off and running. We've been doing this now for 40 minutes. Good conversation. But you did kind of allude to it in the middle of all of that conversation that the NBA draft deadline for players going and coming from college passed yesterday. And some big names have decided to stay in college and return to school. Billy Richmond III from Arkansas, Tyler Tanner, and Alabama's Amari Allen staying put.
Yeah, I expected that. People were asking me yesterday, and I knew Amari at some point was going to make an announcement, stay or go, but I felt pretty good about him staying. You never know completely. Billy Richmond actually went and then stayed. So that whole thing was bizarre because when the info was first released to the national media, guys like Jeff Goodman, but he ended up staying in school, which I think was a smart move. Basically, and then one of the biggest one was probably nationally was the kid from Iowa State, Milan Momlinovich.
Yep.
We'll talk to Jeff Drummond about that later in the show because Kentucky's up to their neck in that. But of course,
he decided to come back but leave Iowa State and go into the portal.
Yeah, and it's Kentucky, it's Louisville. Probably a little bit of St. John's, though they did get the Tunde kid who from Baylor who decided to withdraw from the draft and committed to St. John's. They're still after him, and then Arizona has kind of entered the mix because Koa Pete decided to stay in the draft.
Yep.
And probably going to be a top 20 pick. So pretty much the only one left out there, and I couldn't get anything definitive. I don't think there was anything released unless it was released this morning, was Malik Thomas of Arkansas. Malik, I think a lot of people thought he was staying in. Now, I did see some posts on social media about Amari Allen staying in, and I don't know who the hell gave them their information, but it was I was like, that's not what I've heard. But, and I double checked, and I was like, I think he's definitely coming back to school, and he came back to school, and so I think it was big for Alabama. He can be their primary ball handler. He certainly needs to improve his outside shot. A lot of his career arc and his stock is a lot like what LeBaron Filon's was a year ago, and LeBaron came back, and I think he's going to be a top 15 pick. No question about that, which last year his stock was kind of where Amari's was, which was late first, early second, in that dangerous zone.
Right.
And he came back to school at the very last minute, except for, really honestly, and I'll be blunt, I think LeBaron's was somewhat a pleasant surprise because it really looked like he was going to stay in the draft. I'd been hearing throughout that Amari Allen, most all the buzz was he was going to come back if he didn't get a guarantee in the first round. And when you started hearing the buzz coming out of the combine, all the buzz was about him coming back. He only measured 6'5.5". He didn't really scrimmage a whole lot. And, just all the stuff all kind of was pointing toward him coming back. And then Jeff Goodman and Jeff pretty much hit all of them on the head because he talked to 10 different people, and all of them said Amari Allen should come back. I mean, that's just what it looked like.
Right.
And so, because even LeBaron Filon himself last year said he was staying in until the very last minute. And that's kind of what happened with Momlinovich.
At Iowa State.
Yeah, because he was admittedly yesterday afternoon, a lot of people still thought he was going to stay in the draft, but he's not. And I think a lot of the reason he's not is because he's going to get at least $5 million to go to his new place.
Somewhere. Yeah. Well, Illinois, by the way, does return the United colors of Benetton. Pretty much the entire foreign roster is back there. Duke will have a deep roster coming back as well. Florida has a pretty good roster coming back as well. So a lot of good college basketball news. All right, let's get some phone calls in here. Let's get Richard in here this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Hey, Rich. What's up, man?
Hey, morning, guys. Yeah, good news on Allen there. The one thing on the social media, the guy that posted that did the stay and go, and he meant stay in school, but it meant people misread it as stay in the NBA.
Yeah.
The guy used kind of bad terminology. I saw it and I go, this guy's crazy. But it was like Tanner for Vandy.
Yeah, big for
Allen,
Vandy.
He had stay, but he meant stay in school and not stay in the NBA. So I think people misread it. Is what it was.
Well, there was a lady, and I'm not familiar with her, but she had him staying.
Oh.
And I'm talking about staying in the draft because she said staying and returning and staying in the draft and then returning to college basketball. And she had Amari. Matter of fact, half of the ones she had staying in the draft didn't. So I thought it was blindly guessing. Basically, it looked like to me that I was like, well, if you have a source, you need to fire the source because I don't think your source is very good.
One thing is, I mean, the SEC with Allen and then Tanner may be the player, the preseason player of the year.
Yeah.
And Richmond's a really good player too. So the SEC really improved.
Mm-hmm.
By getting these back, because like I said, Tanner may be the preseason MVP or whatever they call it. Out, coming back for the year as good as he was last year for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, he was great, no doubt.
Tell you what, you're talking about Hunter Yurachek. I mean, and we're talking basketball now. Who is the real athletic director for basketball at Arkansas?
I guess John Calipari.
No, John Tyson.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true because he hired John
Yurachek
Calipari.
is not even the athletic director for basketball. I mean, it's John Tyson. He's the one that hired Cal.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, when you got Tyson written all over the floor out, I mean, Yurachek is not even the basketball AD. It's Tyson. John Tyson.
Yeah.
One thing on Yurachek, I mean, who scheduled the Utah game?
Yeah. I mean, somebody should ask him that.
Why would you play Utah home and away? But then again, who was the coach last year, the football coach?
You talking about Sam Pittman?
Pittman. And then he lets Pittman go at Memphis. Who scheduled that? Memphis home and away.
Yeah.
Remember they lost, then they fumble on the one.
And they had a double-digit lead and
blew it
and choked it away.
Yeah, but they're playing at Memphis. Who scheduled that? I mean, why would you play? I think they did play Notre Dame last year, but going to Utah, why would you schedule that? I mean, basically he's blaming the SEC for his stupidity. What he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he hired Sam Pittman. They had to fire Pittman, and then they had Bobby Petrino as interim coach, and actually their record wasn't good, but they played hard and they competed, and but they still weren't very good. But yeah, I mean, the football program being in the shape it's in has been Uradum's fault, and he's the one last year too, before the season, that was already whining about their NIL situation,
right?
And basically saying that they were at
they weren't going to be able to compete with everybody else in football. Yeah, they weren't going to be able to do it
because I think they lost more starters to the portal than anybody,
right?
Because they just couldn't pay them. And this is a program with what you just said, Richard, John Theisen. And then, and not to mention the Walton family. So I don't know why all of a sudden they can't pay football players.
Well, like you said last year, I think you reported last year, Drew, that they basically kind of wanted Pittman out, so they were almost doing it on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, it was almost like they were sabotaging the deal, but then you go out and hire Ryan Silverfield. It's not like you went out and hired, and he may be a really good coach, but I'm just talking about you didn't get a big-time name out there.
There's a lot of Arkansas fans that were not happy with that hire.
Yeah,
they felt like they got their D choice or F choice, not A, B, or even C choice.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they wanted, the guy at Auburn or, Summerall, I think, over, at least the fans did, over him, and they had to get the third choice.
Yep.
After those two, were taken off the board out. But like I said, I guess you had the Musselman, debacle. He had 2 or 3 really good years in there, but then you had the Musselman, burn out. And then, like I said, John Tyson has to step in and make the next hire.
Right. Exactly.
Cal, so.
Yep.
But Juracek's just basically blaming, Sankey for. You tell you what, on B. Rich, and people were complaining about that that next to last weekend of the season. I mean, if the SEC is going to do that, they should play 3 SEC games every week. Week 1, 2.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to not let them, you're going to worry about the next to last weekend. I mean, a lot of times these first 2 or 3 weekends of the season, there's only 1 or 2 good games to watch.
Yeah.
Good point.
Good point. Thanks for the phone call, bub.
Thank you, Richard.
All right. Let's get B. Rich in here real fast. Good morning, B. Rich.
Yep.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Happy Women's College World Series Day, man. I am freaking pumped.
Yeah, 11 a.m. will be the start.
Yeah, I'm going to have to listen I'll have to do some streaming for the early games, but to see Bama versus UCLA in prime time, the marquee matchup, I'm excited, man. I think Murph has got by far his, best squad since the 2012 team. So I think the key, man, y'all having Gray on yesterday, dude, that guy knows everything about college softball stuff. Hopefully Brooke will come alive for this series. It's just a matter of time until she busts out. And, man, if Bama can put some pressure on UCLA by scoring runs early, with Tinsley being their main and pretty much their sole, pitching option for UCLA, if they can hit her a little bit and put some pressure on her, I know UCLA can score in bunches, but they haven't been doing it off elite pitching, and that's what you get every single game in the SEC. So,
yeah. Well,
I just need to.
I'm going to take a shot here. I'm surprised Hunter Yurachek didn't complain that his softball team was going to have to stay up past their bedtime tonight to play at 8:30 at an unfair advantage.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Touche, Scott, touche. Hey, they should just be happy to be in the party. I mean, Courtney Deifel's a great coach, but for them to have, this be their first appearance, they've been knocking on the door a lot. But I'm hoping the SEC will show out. There's a couple of good that Texas Tennessee matchup. Man, you talk about a brutal first-round game, to know that one of those is going to go straight, have to fight their way out of the loser's bracket. And the games today are stacked. I felt like, Texas Tech, you looked at that and you're like, well, they played Mississippi State. Man, if they sleep on Mississippi State with as hot as they are right now, then Texas Tech might have to fight their way out of the losers bracket. So it's a great time of year. I'm really hoping Bama can do something really special this year. If they can get the bats hot with the combination of the pitching they have and the defense they play, then I really like their chances. But it's hard. It's a stacked field. So, listen, I know y'all got to get to a break. Roll Tide. Let's get it, ladies. And y'all have a great rest of your day.
Be Rich.
Be Rich did allude to it. We got to get a break in. We're going to wrap up hour one. Told you, flying by.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Turns out we have an accident with an overturned vehicle in it. That's at 72 and Nance Road in the Madison area. That's right around Rainbow Drive. Be on the lookout for that. Emergency crews are headed in that direction. Also have another accident on the Parkway at Airport Road on the overpass. Be on the lookout for that. And then now we've got an accident reported 565 eastbound in County Line Road in Madison, and it's on the ramp. That's going to cause you some delays. Emergency crews not there just yet. Keep those seatbelts buckled and be safe. And I'll be back in a minute with an update. Is a home purchase in your future? Protect yourself when you're making the biggest investment of your life. From the peak of the roof to the bottom of the foundation, the electrical, the plumbing, the air conditioning, and everything in between. Call Cruise Home Inspection for some peace of mind. 256-529-4207. 256-529-4207. From the Rock Creek Production Studios, your wedding DJ specialist, I'm David Cruz, Mr. Traffic.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Hey, I'm Bobby White, and our employee pricing for everyone is in high gear right now at Lynn Layton Ford in Decatur. That's right, everyone in the Tennessee Valley can get our special Ford employee pricing on over 280 available new Fords. Save up to $15,000 off MSRP on remaining new 25 F-150s and up to $8,000 off MSRP on new 25 Broncos. With your good credit, you can save thousands with financing as low as 0% on select new models. And always remember, Lynn Layton Ford will never charge you any mysterious dock fee or some hidden markup. It's simple. You pay what we pay on 280 new Fords. That's right, $15,000 off MSRP on new 25 F-150s, $8,000 off MSRP on new 25 Broncos, or lock in 0% financing on select new models. Come see us at Lynn Layton Ford, right in the heart of Ford country, just a mile south of the Beltline in Decatur, or online anytime at lynnlaytonford.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Welcome to Kern Electrical, where teamwork powers every project. Our champion sales team takes time to understand your needs, tailoring the perfect Generac generator for your home or business. Our project managers handle all coordination, ensuring a tackle-free installation. Our certified installation crews ensure peace of mind, even in the darkest moments. With our service and maintenance lineups, you can be assured we're with you every step of the way. Experience the home team advantage of Kern Electrical, your Generac superstore.
Most current way to keep your power on. Generac Superstore. superstore.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Hey, we're wrapping up hour one here on Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Hour one just flew on by. Coming up to kickoff hour two. Phone lines are back open to you, 256-576-4977. The second hour chocked full of goodness as well. Steve Robertson will join us. We'll get his thoughts on Mississippi State baseball and softball because the Bulldogs, you mentioned 11 a.m. first pitch.
Mention that.
Mississippi State will get started with Texas Tech. If there is a team in Oklahoma City that I think most people probably want to see not win it, I'm going to say Texas Tech is probably that team, maybe.
Well,
maybe.
You heard Gray talk about it yesterday, about how embarrassing it was that weekend.
With Florida.
With conduct on both sides.
Yeah.
But you can also blame the NCAA because they're not going to sit here and admit it, but they lined it up for those storylines. They made sure that they were going to face each other if both teams took care of business when they lined up the regionals and supers. You knew they were going to play each other. I mean, don't get me wrong, Texas Tech nearly choked and didn't make it. But still, that's the way that they set it up. They wanted to create some drama, and they created it. And except I think it went way overboard.
Way
they thought
overboard.
So.
Jason Williams says now he doesn't want anything to do with Florida. He has severed all ties with the Florida Gators.
Man, that dude didn't even finish his Florida career because of dope. Who cares?
Talking Ball next.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you paint your body, your car, and your dog your school colors? Maybe. But it means more than that. It means your alumni network includes the state, the country, and beyond. It means your school ring doubles as your resume. And yeah, you better believe it means more titles, like doctor, CEO, and your honor. Because this is the SEC. And here, it just means more. What does it mean to be part of the Southeastern Conference? That yours is the only conference with its own chant? Well, yes, but it means more than that. It means a study abroad program that might include reforestation in a mangrove swamp in Australia. It means finding your calling, your future spouse, your startup's co-founders, and of course, grilling tongs that play your fight song. This is the SEC, and here, it just means more.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care. Specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hour 2 is upon us. SportsMedAlabama.com. That's where you can find SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. They are North Alabama's leader in sports medicine surgery. Give them a call today, 256-881-5151. The most comprehensive spine team in North Alabama. They are dedicated to providing care that improves lives. Give them a call today. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, urgent care, brace shop. They've got it all. Sports medicine, joint replacement, knee surgery, neosurgery, general orthopedics. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives, helping us get going here with hour number 2. And again, coming up this morning at 11 a.m., the College World Series, Softball World Series gets underway. Alabama fans are going to have to wait until 6 o'clock as they will take on UCLA 1-8 there in Oklahoma City. Division1softball.com or Division 1 Baseball did name Patrick Murphy as the National Coach of the Year, and Jocelyn Brisky, your Division 1 softball pitcher of the year. That announcement coming out yesterday.
Yeah, D1 softball Coach of the Year for Coach Murphy. Definitely well-deserved. With what they've accomplished up to this point. You know, they got one more goal in mind, and that's to win in Oklahoma City. Jocelyn Brisky, she's been tremendous all year. I mean, really the only team that's squared her up consistently has been Texas, and they're in the women's CWS, the WCWS, and of course, you know, they're in opposite brackets right now, and you heard B. Rich mention it, and that game will be tentatively at 1:30 Central, but it's really 30 minutes after the conclusion of the start, which is 11 a.m., Texas Tech, the villains of the tournament, the best team money can buy, playing against Mississippi State, who is really the Cinderella of the tournament, because I know Arkansas had never made it, but Arkansas had been, in the last 5 years, had lost 5 supers, and had some of those they had hosted. So they've been a national seed, a top 8.
Right.
And so they've had expectations to get there, just didn't come through. They did finally get there this year, but I don't think anybody on their bingo card, I certainly didn't, have Mississippi State getting to Oklahoma City for the first time, but they did, and they did it by going to Norman, Oklahoma, and knocking out the program that's been the standard and the I know they didn't win it a year ago.
No.
But they made the finals against Texas. But Patty Gasso's program has set the pace. But they lose to Mississippi State, and now Mississippi State got a huge opportunity today at 11 a.m. against Texas Tech to kick off the WCWS.
You mentioned the Oklahoma Sooners. They won the title in 24, 23, 22, 21. 20, it was canceled because of COVID. 19, UCLA won the title.
Yep,
Florida State won it in 18, but Oklahoma won it in 17. They won it in 16. The last SEC team to win now I'm not talking about current Oklahoma and Texas. That is excluding Oklahoma and Texas. The last SEC team to win the Women's College World Series or win a softball national championship is Florida in 2015. Gators won it in 15 and 14. Oklahoma won it again in 13, and then Alabama won it in 12. Of course, Alabama snapping that streak of non-SEC teams winning the SEC or winning the national championship. They were the first to do it in 12. But then you rattle off all that. The Big Ten, by the way, true Big Ten, I'm not counting UCLA in this equation because they are there now, but I'm talking about before they added all them. You got to go all the way back to Michigan in 05 is the last time a Big Ten team has won the softball national championship. Now, a lot of people think maybe UCLA, maybe Nebraska can get there, but that is it.
Well, Gray made a good point yesterday, and then we're talking about the Crimson Tide Sports Network's Gray Robertson as he joined us before Media Day yesterday. He talked about how, in his mind, and he, as you heard B. Rich say, he follows it as closely as anyone, and he does. That's why we feature him. And we're not talking about just from an Alabama perspective or
national
the SEC.
Perspective.
National. He does. He has a national podcast, and he has so many contacts throughout the sport. Is that he really did? We asked him yesterday. He really couldn't make a prediction. He feels like it's a wide open, WCWS, that there's not a definitive favorite among all of them. Now, can Alabama do it? Absolutely. There's a reason they're the number 1 overall seed, but I think you can make a case for just about every team, maybe even Mississippi State, if they can get enough offense. Because my thing with them, I didn't think they'd beat OU because I didn't think they could score enough runs. And then they win the first game on a comeback 11-9, and then they do fall 7-1 pretty hard the second game. But we saw they dominated Oklahoma 6-0. If they swing the bats, anything can happen. And so certainly I think, and we know Texas Tech made a deep run last year, and I believe they've had a really good program themselves. I believe last year they were a finalist and lost to Texas. So there you go. So I mean. And I know and Oklahoma's had a really good program as well.
Right.
But, I mean, look.
I don't think anybody felt sorry for them that they did not get to Oklahoma City.
They've won plenty, and they'll be back. They're an elite program. They just softball's kind of funny, and the SEC is really tough, and they just went cold at a bad time. So certainly Patty Gasso and her program will be back.
All right, again, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We will have tonight's Alabama UCLA softball game for you. Mm-hmm. That'll come your way again tonight, roughly around 6 o'clock there in Oklahoma City. So if you cannot have it in the car, in a bar, or near and far, you can download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app. So then you can listen to it in a bar, in a car, or near and far.
That's bringing back some memories.
That is bringing back. That's when we first launched the app several years ago. It's been a long time.
Czar was using that, in his diatribe. He was using your near and far in a bar, in a car for a while. Now he's using one of our other things.
What's he using now?
Our Colonel Reb is crying has become part of the show.
Can he not do anything on his own?
I just happened to hear it because, he's having his trifecta or whatever, and he was talking about how much he loved Coach O, and he started playing Colonel Reb is Crying. So, there you go. And it is funny. It is original, and it's old. I mean, I'm not sure a lot of people realize it was around. I only do because I'm one of those nutcases that heard it, and it just stuck with me for 20 years because I thought it was hilarious. And that and JoJo.
JoJo knows tires.
Yeah. The
Hummer gets you a Hummer from JoJo. Pete Golding staying, I guess, somehow. Speaking of that, Pete Golding was asked yesterday about Steve Sarkisian, about the basket weaving comments, and does he talk to Lane Kiffin at all? Here is Pete Golding address for a second here, talking about all of that at SEC spring meetings.
Basket weaving has been a subject too.
It's a hard thing to do. Have you ever tried it? No, I haven't. But no, obviously from an academic standpoint, I don't have to sit up here about what Ole Miss does and all that. I don't think anybody has to defend that. So I think that was a little out of context. Obviously, Sark hit me right after that happened. It was a month prior. I think the timing of it, kind of piggybacked, the other one or whatever like that. But no, I'm not worried about any of that.
Did you talk to Steve about it?
Yeah. I mean, he hit me as soon as it went public. Look, this was a month ago. No point intended. We all heard the basket weaving deal growing up and all that type of stuff. So he said he was just trying to talk about Texas and how hard it was and all that type of stuff. So I told him I appreciate it. I said, I don't know if I'm a transfer. I'd much rather take basket weaving than biology. So I appreciate your help and your support. So yeah. No.
Did Lane hit you up after the Vanity Fair stuff the way Sark did?
Lane hits me up every day. So I get 12 text messages a day from Lane. It's just what do I decide to look at as well, So I was not looking at that one, but no, we're good.
Are you so excited for that?
Talking about Lane Kiffin there. Well, then later on, and Pete Nakos from On 3. He did talk about the tampering situation and everything, that the accusations from Dabo Sweeney. And Pete Golding did say, I'm not going to sit up here and say whether we did or we didn't do it was right or was it wrong. But when you go through what we went through, tampering, and what you're seeing day to day and day out, some of the things you feel like shouldn't matter, that they're making a big deal about.
Well, I mean, I also read that Pete Golding was saying, depending on, I know they're being investigated right now for tampering at Ole Miss, but depending on how that turns out, I know Pete Golding was telling folks that he would basically go to the NCAA about what all has been going on behind the scenes. And I know what he's referring to. He's referring to LSU, who tried to, and we all know Lane Kiffin tried to do this. He tried to take pretty much the entire offense with him out the door as he was going somewhere else, because Lane Kiffin cares about one person on the planet Earth besides his kids and, his in personal relationships with family and friends, and that's himself.
Right.
And in the coaching profession, a lot of guys are like that, but he's like that more than any other. And you have to look out for yourself, but he certainly was doing it, and he doesn't care how he does it. Okay. And that's my point. I mean, if he has to do it in an underhanded way, he's certainly going to do it in an underhanded way. And so he was, that's why it was such a joke that he wanted to continue to coach the team in the playoff. See, John Summerall's team wanted him to coach the team, and he
and John even referred to that in his press conference, saying, "Hey, I walked into the team meeting and asked the guys, do you want me to coach?" And they're all like, "Yeah, you're our coach. You're our coach. We want you to be there."
I don't think the Ole Miss guys wanted Lane Kiffin around. I think they were sick and tired of the way he had basically left them twisting in the wind the whole time in that coaching search.
Right.
And then I think. But and we all know, and it's a business. But John Summerall made a point this week at SEC Media Days, and I think he's right. They need to reset, the
calendar and yes,
where guys, they can't get fired until the end of the season, and then you've got enough time to take jobs. And then you don't have as much of this crap going on, where is if you leave before the playoff, you all know what's going on. You're trying to recruit guys. And that's why Lane, he did have a couple of his coaches stay with Pete Golding, like his running backs coach, and everybody knew what he was doing. He was trying to get Kyron Lacey to go to LSU. But, Ole Miss kind of cut that off with Golding. And
he had Charlie Weiss Jr. stay there at Ole Miss as well to do the offense.
Yeah.
So spring meetings for Lane Kiffin, by the way, 70, 80%, I'm going to say about 80% of the questions that Lane Kiffin got at spring meetings dealt with Ole Miss. Ole Miss.
I'm sure.
They kept firing away. When in 2 months, in about 2 months, we will be in Tampa for SEC Media Days. Lane Kiffin, again, we will not have that setting until SEC Media Days, where Lane Kiffin is in front of the podium and all the SEC writers and media members are there. When do we stop asking Lane Kiffin about Ole Miss? When do we move on from the whole Ole Miss situation and just focus on LSU?
It'll take a year or two. I mean, it took a year or two before they stopped asking Nick Saban about LSU all the time. LSU, because when that rivalry became so heated. But after a while, he's the University of Alabama head football coach. You got to let it go. It'll take a couple of years because he's going to be.
You think it'll be that long?
Yeah, it's going to, because there's a lot of vitriol. Because first of all, he's going to Oxford this year to play,
right?
And then the next year they'll be playing, I'm sure,
in Baton
Rouge, and so it'll be his first time hosting Ole Miss. And so, and historically, if you know anything about the SEC, Joel Klatt does not. He probably couldn't tell you this, but Ole Miss and LSU historically are big rivals, because LSU geographically doesn't have an in-state rival in the league. Okay, Tulane left the SEC years ago. They don't have another school in their state, or even outside of their state, except for Ole Miss, and they had a lot of battles, in the 50s and 60s, 70s, and things like that. That's the closest thing they had to a rival. Okay. I mean, certainly they wanted to beat Alabama. That didn't really heat up until Nick Saban left LSU to go to the NFL and then come back to Alabama. Okay. There wasn't the anticipation of that game every year, Scott. Okay. I mean, it's Alabama, it's LSU, and they had some great battles. But like we know, Charlie Mackey couldn't beat Coach Bryant though. And there was the main thing that was talked about in that series was how Alabama owned LSU in Baton Rouge. That's all they ever talked about.
Right.
They didn't talk about it being a heated rivalry. But when Nick Saban left LSU and then ended up back at Alabama 2 years later, and then, Les Miles was doing a great job at LSU, taking that torch, they were the two best programs in the league, and it became a rivalry. Will it continue to be one? I don't know. I mean, certainly Brian Kelly had a 1 year of success, and then he fell on his face. And so, and now he's out of coaching because he's a fraud and always was. And so, and now we'll see. Now there'll be some juice with Lane Kiffin, with Ole Miss especially, and still with Alabama, because he coached at Alabama, and everybody knows he's always wanted the Alabama job. He never got it, but he got probably if you told him, like, if you ever leave Ole Miss, and I think he always planned to, he's already never going to go back to USC because that was a failure. Okay, so. They're not going to take that bridge is torched. Because I think before he fell on his face there, that was his dream job, but that didn't work out. Then he worked for Nick Saban, and I think he got fixated on the Alabama job, because that's why he never talked to you never heard him really criticize Alabama or criticize Nick Saban, because one, he owed Saban his career, and two, he wanted the Alabama job. But he's not going to get that now either. But if he had his second choice, I think it would be LSU.
Right.
Because they have resources, they have recent success, they've got 3 national titles, and so he knows that he can win at the highest level. But I'll say this again, if Lane Kiffin falls on his face and does not win at the highest level, and he may win at the highest level, I'm not saying he won't. Right. I'm just saying, if this doesn't go well and we have a Trojan War, the sequel, LSU style, and he's out, he will never be a big-time head coach again, ever.
This is it.
He will be done. He could go back to FAU and coach in a
nobody in the pack. Nobody would take a chance on
Lane Kiffin if he doesn't win at the highest level at LSU. Nobody will touch him except an FAU or somebody like that. He will be out of the media spotlight.
Does he have to win it in 3 years, 2 years, 4 years?
Win it this year. His payroll is probably $50 million. He ain't got no excuses. And he just got y'all back to pay $100,000 to help him recruit and help him defensively.
Right.
And that's his boy. So he ain't got any excuses, except for maybe if the QB they signed ends up not being healthy. But even then, last year, his personnel people, not Lane Kiffin, got Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, but I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell you who the hell the backup quarterback is at LSU this year, just like I couldn't have told you about Trinidad last year. So does he have another ace in the hole? Because I'll be honest, if Trinidad had not been, transcendent last year, I don't know. Simmons looked shaky after I thought he'd be a good player. But see, that goes back to what I've always said about Lane, that he doesn't develop talent. He knows how to build offenses around really good talent, which he did with Trinidad Chambliss, but he's not a guy that develops players. I don't care what anybody tells me. Blake Sims, I know they always try to say he was a running back. He was a quarterback. He was a quarterback all the way back in high school. Okay, he was never a running back full time. He was a quarterback his whole career in coming up and in high school and everything else. Yes, they tried to move him at different positions at Alabama, but ultimately he was a quarterback. Okay, and if Lane Kiffin developed Blake Sims, why the hell didn't Blake Sims end up in the NFL? He didn't.
True.
He and Jimbo Fisher are two of the most overrated people when it comes to people talking about them being quarterback developers. They're not. They're play callers. They're not. That's what Gus Malzahn is too.
He's a play caller.
Gus Malzahn did not develop Cam Newton.
No.
Okay, and neither did Gene Chizik. But I'm
just called the right plays to fit the offense.
Plays.
Yep.
They did not develop anybody.
I agree. All right, 8:20. I think we all agree we got to get a break in here. 256-576-4977. You can join us on the other side.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Listen to The Drive live from the SEC Spring Meetings on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The Drive at the SEC Spring Meetings is brought to you by Huntsville Sports Commission. We do sports. Berkshire Hathaway Home Service. Rise Real Estate and Adams. Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We save you money. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Your trusted Huntsville roofing contractors. And by McCurry Van and Car Rental. Online at McCurryRentals.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
In the market for a new or used car? Look no further than Hyundai of Decatur. With a large inventory of new, used, and certified pre-owned Hyundai models, Greenway Hyundai of Decatur is here to service all of your Hyundai needs. Come visit our exceptional service department as well. With state-of-the-art facilities and a caring team of automotive professionals waiting to service your vehicle, make Hyundai of Decatur your #1 choice for all your automotive needs. Give them a call today at 256-274-0279 or visit them online at greenwayhyundaiofdecatur.com.
Tom Abraham here for my longtime friend Mike Owen of Owen Home Appliance. You know, Mike has over 25 years experience in the appliance industry, and since 2017, Owen Home Appliance has served customers in the Tennessee Valley with a focus on quality products, affordable prices, and excellent customer service. Owen Home Appliance prides themselves on community involvement as well, sponsoring local teams and events while making sure that you get the right appliance at the right price. Visit their highly interactive showroom in Lacey Springs, just 8 miles south of the river on 231.
AL cert number 21014.
Welcome into the hottest and coolest game show around called The Freeze. Today's contestant, Bob. Bob, can you tell me the heating and air business that provides free service with repair?
Is it Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
Can you tell me which heating and air business provides free second opinions?
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning.
You are our grand prize winner. You have won a visit from the #1 heating and air business in the Tennessee Valley.
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
That's right. Talent Heating and Air is coming to you.
This is Thomas with Talent Heating and Air Conditioning, and you don't have to win a game show to use us. We have free second opinions year-round, and we're doing free service calls with a repair. So just remember, call Talent Heating and Air Conditioning at 256-503-4490 or visit us on our website at talenthvac.com.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Coming up in a short time, Steve Robertson will join the program as we get his thoughts on Mississippi State softball. Baseball.
Hosting a regional as well.
Yeah, hosting a regional. First time for this coaching staff to host one there in Starkville.
Yeah, and they seem to be the last. The committee made no bones about it, even though Kansas and I know West Virginia are below them, but it would seem to be either them or Arkansas for that last spot. There was a lot of consternation because Arkansas, won that series, and a lot of people thought that they won the head-to-head and they had better wins. But the committee thought Mississippi State played a tougher schedule. Certainly, Brian O'Connor's one hell of a coach. I think we all agree with that.
Right.
And that Mississippi State is very capable. of going on a run. I still think they're should be considered the favorite in their regional, no question. Starkville is going to be jumping. It's a baseball community. Steve Robertson always has told us that, and he makes no bones about it. That's why his daily podcast, by the way, is called The Boneyard, is because they're a baseball school. And they've invested heavily in it. That's why they were able to get Brian O'Connor away from a place like Virginia where he'd won the national championship. And the expectations are to win and win now, because Chris Lemonis won a national championship for Mississippi State in 2021. The first one in school history, in the proud history of that program, with Ron Polk there twice. And Ron Polk's still around the program, but he the stars never lined. They never won it under him, but he certainly was the first person, in my opinion, to as college baseball turned into its golden era, they got Mississippi State established before anyone else in the SEC, and certainly did that. But Chris Lemonis won the national championship, but he couldn't sustain it. I hate to compare him to Urban Meyer, because I don't like Urban Meyer, but it kind of reminded me of that. Urban won national championships at two different places, but he couldn't sustain either program long term. And Lemonis couldn't do that at Mississippi State to the standard that needed to be, and that's why they had to go get Brian O'Connor, and they expect him to win at the highest level.
Yeah.
And certainly I think Mississippi State, they'd have to be pleased, with year one so far. And I think if you look at the track record of Brian O'Connor, it's just going to get better.
All right, well, let's do so. Let's get a break in. When we come back, Steve Robertson will join the program. We will talk some Mississippi State softball and baseball with our good buddy Steve Robertson next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Travel accommodations for 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, provided by University Kia. Your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky again this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 80s. It is also going to be incredibly humid across the Tennessee Valley. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible at any given point during the afternoon, the evening, and then as we head into the overnight, temperatures drop into the upper 60s. Upper 70s for your Friday. Better opportunity for widespread rain.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. Taking care of your property yourself can be a real headache. Eagle can handle it for you. They offer full landscaping services, irrigation, mowing, bush hog, and can install plants and trees, sod, and even landscape borders. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Introducing The Golfus, Huntsville's newest, nicest, and only multi-location indoor golf venue. Play over 2,000 courses with state-of-the-art simulator technology, perfect for golfers of all skill levels. For a limited time, grab an unlimited membership for just $99 a month, or book with our grand opening pricing. It's the best value in Huntsville. Check us out at thegolfus.com.
At Kern Electrical, we're more than just a Generac generator dealer. We're your partners in ensuring your home or business never loses power, especially when it matters most. Call 256-880-1880 today or visit gensuperstore.com for reliable power solutions that work when you need them most.
Most current way to keep your power on. GeneracSuperstore.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. Only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Love that song, by the way. Love that song. It's a good song. That's Bailey Zimmerman, right? Doesn't Bailey Zimmerman sing that song?
That's Never Been to Spain by Three Dog Night.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it has the same kind of rhythm as the Texas and Oklahoma. Kind of like that. It's the same rhythm. Yeah, anyway, love it. All right. We talked before the break. Big game, 11 a.m. Mississippi State, Texas Tech in the Women's Golf Ball World Series. Not a lot of people had Mississippi State playing at 11 a.m. this morning in Oklahoma City. I guarantee you on that, but they are. And then baseball at home for regional play, and that is where Bulldog fans expected to be.
Yeah, I think so far so good with Brian O'Connor and what he's doing with the program. But our next guest, we haven't spoken with him really since the end of football season, but we always go to him to talk Mississippi State. He's the most well-connected guy I know. One of the best authors in the southeastern United States, no doubt about it. He's had a myriad of bestsellers when it comes to covering the maroon and white, and even poetry. This is a very well-versed guy, and he probably knew that guitar riff before we did because he knows music as well as anyone also. Of course, we're talking about Steve Robertson. He's part of course, 24/7 Sports and covering Mississippi State. But we really appreciate his time, and he's going to join us now, and we're going to talk about, first of all, this groundbreaking moment for Mississippi State softball and Samantha Ricketts, but we're also going to talk Brian O'Connor and Mississippi State baseball because that defines this athletic department and university. But it's always great to catch up with Steve. Steve, it's great to reconnect with you. You're with Drew and Scott this morning. How are you, sir?
Well, the first thing that I want to say is I've never been to Spain, but I sure do like the music.
You love our producers. They do a great job, brother. I know you're a music aficionado, and yes, they do a great job. 70s, 80s, 90s, a lot of stuff that I know is in your wheelhouse.
Well, that's the next lyric in the song, too. I'm just letting you know. You said Steve probably knew it. Yes, Steve knew it. So. but yeah, it's good to be with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just start off, though, with Samantha Ricketts. What a story for Mississippi State. And we followed it closely because there's a lot of young ladies from the state of Alabama that have been a big part of this program and turning it around. But they've been on the cusp, but to break through and to do it in the fashion that they did against really the program that's defined softball for the last decade plus, what a story for Mississippi State.
No doubt about it. I go back, several years ago now when John Cohen, the athletic director at Auburn, was here at Mississippi State, my good friend, and it was right around the time they let Van Studeman go, and we were talking a little bit about the search, and he goes, everybody in softball tells me we have a rock star here in Samantha Ricketts. He goes, we've always liked her, but people in college softball are saying, hey, she's arguably the next big thing. So they elected to promote from within, and some people were somewhat critical of that decision. Well, nobody's criticizing it now.
No.
State had never been to a super regional. We've been to two now. Hosted against Arizona a couple of years ago. That didn't go the way we expected. And now here we are in Oklahoma City. And, people say, well, anything else is a bonus. But, the reality of it is I think with this team, they're not going to be satisfied with just getting there. That's not to say they win the national championship, but there's nobody in maroon and white that's forecasting a loss. They're expected to go win.
Yeah. Right. And as Drew was mentioning, Morgan Stiles, who's from right here in our backyard.
From Athens.
I mean, she's had a heck of a super regional. And last year, I mean, she had a heck of a regional against Texas Tech. So, I mean, she's very familiar against this team. And, I mean, should be a fun way to start your morning today at 11 a.m.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be a busy day for us. We got baseball media all afternoon too, so we'll keep up with softball a little bit while we're covering that. But well, the thing about this team that's so interesting is and it's really not just germane to this Mississippi State team. It's every great team. They genuinely cheer for each other. There's no selfishness with this team. They love each other, and they don't care who gets the credit. They just want the team to succeed, and she's been a big part of that. And I think that's one of the things that really speaks well to the culture here at Mississippi State is that you just don't have bad actors here, especially in women's sports. And it's incredible to think how women's sports at Mississippi State have thrived the last several years. I mean, Big Schaefer took Mississippi State to 2 national championship appearances in women's basketball. And then just 2 years ago, Mississippi State won the Southeastern Conference in soccer. And now here we are celebrating newfound glory in women's softball. And it's an incredible thing to see those women's programs really begin to kind of mature in recent years under Zach Selman's leadership.
Yeah, and then I wanted to ask you before we switch to baseball about Alyssa Faircloth, too. She transferred from Troy. She's done a great job in a couple of years at Mississippi State, and she certainly was a big catalyst for them going all the way out to Eugene, Oregon, and winning very impressively and looking like they should have been the host.
Oh, it's crazy, right? I mean, it's she comes in, and I transcribed that presser yesterday, and, she talked about, when she first got up here, a lot of crying sessions on the phone with Dad, just wondering if she could do it. And then, she ends up being, one of the greatest newcomers that we've ever had, and, some no-hitters. And then, the pitching performance out in Eugene, Oregon was just legendary. And again, I think, it speaks to Coach Ricketts and the culture that she's instilled here, that young ladies can come here and thrive and reach their full potential.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of that, baseball-wise, the transition to Brian O'Connor, we kind of talked about this off the air. Scott and I were discussing it. Nobody wanted to see Chris Lemonis go, but it ultimately was a situation that had to be dealt with. He gave Mississippi State a national championship. You wrote an amazing book about that journey. But eventually, Mississippi State's a baseball school, so you have to win at the highest level. Zach Selman had to make a change, and what a hire getting Brian O'Connor in the – I know that there's always a bumps in a transition, but everything looks really promising thus far.
Well, it does, and that's one of the things. And Zach Selman and I had a discussion earlier this week, and I reminded him of a conversation that we had in Tallahassee, Florida last year in the regional. And he looked at me and he said, he kind of let the AD mask slip a little bit, and he said, Steve, you just don't know how bad it bothers me that we're not playing baseball at our place, that our stadium that we built is empty this weekend and we're on the road. And he said, we've got to change that. And when Brian O'Connor got here, he said, one of the things Zach Selman instilled in him was that, hey, we expect to host at Duty Noble Field. And we hadn't hosted since 2021. And now here we are, the first year of Brian O'Connor's tenure, and asked him about that at the SEC tournament in Hoover. I said, what's this going to mean to you? And he just kind of grinned and, thanks for that question. It's just, Brian O'Connor and those guys have had some adversity. Ryan McPherson was lost for basically 2 months, and he's the Friday night starter. And the fact that you could still earn a hosting opportunity and now get him back, and he appears to be full go this weekend, I think there's a good chance he starts tomorrow against Lipscomb. And, it's kind of like signing a free agent, right before the playoff push to get him back, because you've navigated through, the toughest part of your schedule without him, and now you get him back. And even if he's not quite 100%, he's better than most.
Mm-hmm. Outside of that, then what else has impressed you the most about this Mississippi State team this year, especially once they got into SEC play? I mean, which is a gauntlet in itself.
Well, they've been in every baseball game, with the exception of that Game 3 against Auburn. I mean, they haven't had the bad loss. They go 23-2 in non-conference play. That includes a loss to UCLA in Arlington, and then a loss at Southern Miss in one of the first midweek games of the year, a game that they still should have won. And so then you look at SEC play, and, you end up with a winning record. You let a few games get away because you were probably an arm short. But the reality of it is no matter what they've gone through, here they are. Here they are at home with a chance to win a college baseball regional and then advance to a super. And as you guys know, next weekend is crazy. No matter how you slice it, no matter what's happened in the regular season. We've gone through this so many times. We've only had 2 teams that were the top overall seed in the tournament since we changed the format in '99 that won the national championship. And that one of those was Miami the first year. The second one was Tennessee, right? And so it's anybody's tournament, no matter what's happened so far in the season. You just got to advance this weekend, and you never know. 2024, we were heading to Virginia thinking we got a good chance if we beat Virginia in this regional to host the super, because we knew Arkansas was vulnerable. And of course, they got beat by Kansas State, and Kansas State goes to UVA, and Brian O'Connor takes the Cavaliers back to Omaha. And so, we're excited about this weekend, but we're excited about what is to come.
Well, and then, and I'll just say this, I believe they should have beaten UCLA. Weren't they a strike away, an out away from winning that game in Arlington?
Well, it's interesting. Bases loaded, Aiden Teal gets called out on a full count on a ball that ABS showed was about 4 inches inside.
Which you could have appealed.
And Ryder Woodson hits a ground rule double to center field. If that ball stays in the ballpark, State walks it off.
Yeah.
That's how close that game was. And we knew going in there, hey, if we could win in Arlington, we could be the number 1 team in the country come Monday. And then you drop that game kind of in controversial fashion. But to take nothing away from the Bruins, they're an outstanding team. But I think Mississippi State has shown when they're at full strength, they can play with anybody.
And that's the key of being at full strength. But I will say, I do think Cincinnati is a tough 2 seed. What are your thoughts about the regional as a whole that the State's going to face?
Yeah, it's interesting, because Louisiana Lafayette and Cincinnati both have over 100 stolen bases this year. I think UL's at 110 and Cincinnati's at 115. So, that probably impacts your pitching a little bit, because you want a left-hander to maybe control the running game a little bit better. And UL's a team that hadn't hit a ton of home runs. Lipscomb has the second fewest number of home runs in the 64-team bracket. That's what's so crazy about this. Only Yale has fewer with 23 home runs. And so I think it is going to boil down to State and Cincinnati. UL got hot in the Sun Belt tournament. They played 7 games, which is remarkable to think about that. They go 5-2, make it all the way to the Sun Belt title game and lose to Southern Miss. And they were just completely out of gas. But you wonder if there's some carryover with that into the weekend. I'm eager to see that Cincinnati and Louisiana game Friday night. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm curious to see who they pitch. But, none of these regionals are what I would call easy. Obviously UCLA's got a lesser path to resistance because they're the number 1 seed. But you look around this tournament, man, like that Nebraska regional is like the regional from hell. Right? You got Arizona State you host and you get Arizona State and Ole Miss in that regional. Come on. It's tough when you get 2 Power 5 teams in your regional, and that's 2 that can really swing it. But, we love college baseball down here. We kind of live for weekends like this, and, I'm just kind of excited to see how it all plays out. But I think Mississippi State's in a good position to win this regional, and if they don't, it's ultimately their fault.
Well, then if they are fortunate enough to get through, we would assume Georgia would be able to get through. It would set up a Mississippi State-Georgia super regional if Mississippi State and Georgia both take care of business.
Well, honestly, I think we want that, right? We've played 3 very competitive games against them when they came here, and we lost all of them. And then we go to the SEC tournament. 1 swing makes a difference. And, you think at some point the law of averages may work in our favor. But I will remind you, last year Georgia was a top 8 national seed and got upset in their regional. So you never know how things are going to go with expectations. And what Georgia's done this year is historic. They're a regular season and a tournament title team in the SEC, 23 wins in the Southeastern Conference, which is an absurd amount of games. In a league when there's been a lot of parity. It's not like there's just been, of course, there's always going to be some teams that finish at the bottom, but, even Missouri that finished dead last. Missouri beat Texas. It's like, so there was never any gimme this year for anybody. And so got a tremendous amount of respect for Will Coggin, who played here at Mississippi State. He's the hitting coach of Georgia. And obviously Wes Johnson was the pitching coach here in 2016 when Mississippi State and John Cohen won the Southeastern Conference. And so, we've got a lot of connections to that program. And the one thing that I'll say, I mean, that they play in that little bandbox of a ballpark, but we get to swing there too. We get to hit baseballs out of that ballpark too. And so, we'd love to make the trip to Athens, and hopefully it works out.
And then finally, I know it was painful, and you mentioned how good a friend he was to you, and we know how important he was as a player and coach and then an administrator at Mississippi State with John Cohen. But how big was it to retain Zach Selman as AD?
Yeah, I think it was a really big deal. And what's so interesting is, like, from the day that they announced that, Joe Castiglione was retiring at Oklahoma, all these national media people kind of put out was an obvious candidate. And yes, he is an obvious candidate. I had a conversation with Zach Selman that very day. And I said, listen, how's this thing going to go? That's my job, right, to go ask difficult questions. And he goes, a lot of people say that's my dream job, but they don't know my dreams. And he goes, we're happy here. And he goes, I can't say that I would never, not accept the job to go back home because that's where home is. And he goes, but I just don't know if this is the right time for me. We've got so much left to do here at Mississippi State. Got to get football rolling the way we need to. And he was very honest with me on day one. And I would check in with him every couple of weeks. And at no point, even though I never quoted him, at no point did he ever mislead me in that entire thing. And I even did some due diligence, and I found out who at Oklahoma was advocating for him. And I think it kind of surprised him a little bit that I knew that. And I was like, hey, this person here is pushing you hard at Oklahoma. He goes, how do you know them? I said, I don't know them, but I know people that know them. And it's my responsibility to ask you what you know about them. And, but that's the gig, right? And Zach has done so much on the fundraising side. Of course, we're building a new football-only IPF, and there are some things that I truly believe that he wants to accomplish here before he takes that job at Oklahoma or any other one.
Well, he's certainly doing an outstanding job, and you do as well. And let everybody know how to follow you, Steve. And we know you guys at genespage.com are going to be all over the softball coverage and, of course, this regional coming up this weekend.
Oh, we can hardly wait, man. They can find me on all forms of social media at Scout Steve R.
Thank you, sir, as always.
See ya.
All right, let's get a break in, shall we? 8:47, going to wrap up hour 2 next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. I know your accident is the real thing, and they happen to real people.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. There's a lot of talk right now about bigger, but when you've had a wreck, is bigger better?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. Do you want to be just a case number?
With offices in Huntsville and Scottsboro, we take the time to help.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
On Saturday, May 30th, the best wrestlers on the planet take flight in Rocket City. The high-flying action of AEW returns to Huntsville for the first time in over 1 year. Saturdays are for Collision. And on Saturday, May 30th, Huntsville is all elite. AEW Collision, live from Von Braun Civic Center. Tickets on sale now, starting at just $20 at AEWTIX.com.
Cummins has kept the world running for more than 100 years. Since their founding in 1919, Cummins has been dedicated to leading the charge towards a future with smarter, cleaner power. Cummins sales and service locations are right where you need them when you need your engine or generator set service. And now, Cummins has a new Huntsville branch opening June 10th. They're located on Highway 31 in Tanner, just north of Calhoun College. Cummins expert technicians will keep you up and running. Call them at 205-808-2210.
Hey, I'm Bobby White, and our employee pricing for everyone is in high gear right now at Lynn Layton Ford in Decatur. That's right, everyone in the Tennessee Valley can get our special Ford employee pricing on over 280 available new Fords. Save up to $15,000 off MSRP on remaining new 25 F-150s and up to $8,000 off MSRP on new 25 Broncos. With your good credit, you can save thousands with financing as low as 0% on select new models. And always remember, Lynn Layton Ford will never charge you any mysterious dock fee or some hidden markup. It's simple. You pay what we pay on 280 new Fords. That's right, $15,000 off MSRP on new 25 F-150s, $8,000 off MSRP on new 25 Broncos, or lock in 0% financing on select new models. Come see us at Lynn Layton Ford, right in the heart of Ford country, just a mile south of the Beltline indicator, or online anytime at lynnlaytonford.com.
You've been paying on that life insurance policy for years, but maybe you don't really need it anymore, or it's gotten a bit too expensive. Well, before you just let it expire, let Neighbors Insurance Solutions share with you some alternatives that you haven't considered. Don't throw away something that still may have great value for you. If you want to learn more about what Neighbors Insurance Solutions can do for you, call 256-763-7693. A death benefit could be a life benefit. Learn more at 256-763-7693.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back in. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN is on 850. We are about ready to wrap up hour number 2. Coming up tomorrow, you're going to get plenty of chances. We may just do one every 10 minutes. We're going to give you plenty of chances to go see
AEW fans.
Yeah, any AEW wrestling fans that are coming to the Von Braun Center this weekend. Tomorrow we're going to give you a crap load of chances to go see them. And, I mean, if you want to take families of 4, that's fine. We're going to let you go tomorrow. Make sure you're tuning in tomorrow to Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We can easily do this. We can easily give away 40 tickets tomorrow if we wanted to. And we just may.
Heck, man.
Yeah, anybody that's listening right now that wants to go, make sure you tune in tomorrow.
If you got a neighborhood that are all wrestling fans, you do the backyard wrestling, you might have 12 of them.
Well, you know what? Heck, if you want to go, just give us a call now, 256-576-4977. We'll give away 4 tickets right now if you want to go. Yeah, AEW wrestling at the Von Braun Center. All you got to do is just give. Yeah, all you got to do is give Brody your name, your number, and your email address, and then you can go. Yeah, they're listed 256-576-4977. If you want to go see AEW, just give us a call. 256-576-4977.
The show is Saturday.
The show is Saturday. If you want to go, give them a call. We're going to have Speedball Mike Bailey on the show tomorrow. You and I are going to talk about something we've never talked about. It's just going to be so far out of our comfort zone tomorrow that
we might get Joe Hunk on speakerphone.
I don't know. It may be him. He may be Speedball Mike Bailey. We don't know.
Well, if he walks in, he's Speedball Mike Bailey. I'll be speechless for the first time in my life.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go, just tell Brody how many tickets you want. Yeah. 4, 8, 10. Just tell him how many you want.
Hey, Joe, if you're listening, do you want some tickets?
Yeah, Joe Hunk, if you want some tickets, let us know. We will give you some tickets to go see Speedball Mike Bailey and the rest of the AEW crew as they come to Huntsville. But anyway, just Brody will take all your information or whatever, and we'll do some more ticket giveaway tomorrow. Somebody wants to see. There we go. There we go. Hey, we're giving away tickets. They're giving away tickets.
Listeners, man.
Yeah, we do.
We take care of them.
All right, and I will send that information over to them, and we will do it'll be digital tickets. They will send you the digital tickets and everything else like that. So we are just about done with hour number 2 here on the show, and we've got a lot of stuff still to come on the horizon as we got a little over 60 more minutes left of the show. We just had Steve Robertson on. Great conversation there. We're not done yet. Brad Logan will join us at the top of the hour. Talk a little Ole Miss at the spring meetings, obviously. Pete Golding. We heard from Pete Golding earlier in the show. We'll get Brad's thoughts on SEC spring meetings. And you know what? Ole Miss has got a regional baseball, and Steve Robertson kind of alluded to it, that the Rebels are going to have to travel to Lincoln, Nebraska to not take on Nebraska, but they're playing in the Nebraska Regional, which is going to be an awfully tough regional because it is chocked full of some good baseball. And so Brad Logan will join.
Is going to be part of that, as you heard him mention.
Yeah, so that's going to be a hit. And that Nebraska regional, by the way, if Auburn is fortunate enough to get through their regional down on the plains, I believe the Auburn regional and the Nebraska regional collide for a super regional.
They do.
So
Auburn already beat Nebraska 2 out of 3 in Plainsman's Park earlier this year. So
yeah,
they've already seen Nebraska, but it could easily be a rematch.
It could be an SEC.
Big Ten.
Could be an SEC super regional if Ole Miss somehow can find a way to get through the Nebraska regional and Auburn gets through theirs. You could have an SEC super regional, or you could have an SEC Big Ten super regional. So Brad Logan will join us here. And then at the bottom of the hour, Jeff Drummond will join us at 9:30. Kentucky baseball just gets in by the chin of their chinny chin chin.
Ole Miss was last, and then they won it. That's all I'll say. And Mingione's got to Omaha for the first time ever a couple years ago, so they've already broken through there. They're in it. That's all that matters, and you're 0-0. It does not matter one damn thing what happened in the regular season right now. All that matters is if you start winning on Friday.
All right, Brad Logan, he's all set up, dialed in, ready to go. He'll join us on the other side, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, we love baseball almost as much as we love serving up the best and baddest burgers around. People have called our burgers totally insane. And at Bad Daddy's, we take that as a compliment. But it's not just burgers. Up first, starters like our fried pickles, wings, or poblano frites. Second, try one of Bad Daddy's giant chopped salads. Third, our famous chef-inspired burgers with lots of different taste options. And before you head home, finish up with one of our shakes or delicious banana pudding. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and Clift Farm in Madison.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Alabama knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
This hour of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by Hyundai Decatur, located on the Beltline.
In the market for a new or used car? Look no further than Hyundai of Decatur. With a large inventory of new, used, and certified pre-owned Hyundai models, Greenway Hyundai of Decatur is here to service all of your Hyundai needs. Come visit our exceptional service department as well. With state-of-the-art facilities and a caring team of automotive professionals waiting to service your vehicle, make Hyundai of Decatur your #1 choice for all your automotive needs. Give them a call today at 256-274-0279 or visit them online at greenwayhyundaiofdecatur.com.
Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hey, it is hour number 3 of Talking Ball in Greenway Hyundai of Decatur. Here to help you get going with hour number 3, 256-274-0279. It's Greenway Hyundai of Decatur. They want to see you drive away in a Hyundai. We also want to see you in a University Kia. Big thank you to University Kia, Greenway Hyundai for helping us get going. If you want a Hyundai, head over to the Beltline in Decatur. The only reason why you need to cruise around the Beltline, the only place you need to go on the Beltline to buy a car is Greenway Hyundai. The only place you need to cruise around University Drive to buy a car is University Kia, the official transportation providers for 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Ole Miss, we talked about it to end hour number 2.
Yeah.
Heading to Lincoln, Nebraska for a brutal baseball regional and spring meetings wrapping up there in Destin.
Yeah, Pete Golding, of course, never boring. Ever since he took the job over, I think it's been fun to cover him anyway. Really a lot more fun than Lane Kiffin. I know Lane liked to be, active on social media and certainly always was good for a quote. But Pete Golding has actually been I've enjoyed his feedback and his candor, certainly, and there was more yesterday in Destin at the SEC spring meetings. But this baseball regional is a brutal one for Mike Bianco, one of my favorite people in college baseball. They certainly, I think had aspirations of making a deep run in Hoover and trying to host, but that didn't happen. But they still had a very solid regular season, and they are a very dangerous number 2 going to Lincoln, Nebraska, and we're going to discuss all that with our next guest. He contributes to the Ole Miss Spirit, which is part of On 3 and Rivals, and of course, he has the Brad Logan Media Network, and that is Brad Logan. He's been kind enough to rejoin us and talk some Rebels this morning as they get ready to travel to Lincoln and starting Friday, be a part of a regional that's, I really think, the toughest in college baseball. But Brad, it's great to have you back. You were Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Drew. It's, we talked, Drew, about this Ole Miss baseball team and Scott a couple of weeks ago, and Ole Miss just needed to do a couple of things, and they just couldn't do it. They needed to get that Friday night game against Mississippi State when they were leading and could not secure a win. Could not beat Georgia on that Saturday when they went to extras and played really well. Could not beat Arkansas on the convincing game on Sunday, the deciding game. And most importantly, on Saturday, the third game of the series in Tuscaloosa, they just couldn't get it done. I mean, Alabama, to me, is one of the best teams in the conference. And going on the road, playing as well as they did, but just couldn't get it done on that Saturday. Ole Miss did everything, they had everything in front of them. I think you look at it, Drew and Scott, I think baseball, specifically this year, is all about metrics and about how they lined all these teams up, whether it be a hosting 2, 3, or 4 seed. And the committee chair even pointed out to where the strength of schedule was a huge component. All the numbers were in Ole Miss's favor. I think by the end of the year, Ole Miss's strength of schedule was 3 or 4. And that was because of how good the SEC was. But they didn't win the right games. They didn't win enough games, so they're on the road. They're in, as Scott correctly pointed out, a very difficult regional. They'll play tomorrow night at 8 Central on ESPN2 against Arizona State. They'll face Arizona State's ace. And, if they get out of this regional, they're matched up against Auburn and another tough road for Ole Miss. But this is a situation to where a team had kind of its future, its road paid for them, just can get the wins when they needed to.
When you saw this regional come out and you saw Nebraska, Arizona State, Ole Miss, South Dakota State in there, your thoughts, though, your first initial thoughts when you saw that regional?
I immediately thought about Nebraska because they've been playing really well. It's a team that's not synonymous with college baseball. Now, the state of Nebraska is, but the University of Nebraska is not. And they've got a really good team this year. The team that jumped out to me is actually the team that Ole Miss is going to be facing in Arizona State. I think one of the best pitchers in the country is Cole Carlton, a 3.51 ERA. He's been really good this year in 77 innings pitched and 15 appearances. May get Cole Klecker, depending on one of those two. And when they go to the pen, they're just really good on the mound. Nothing really jumps out at you from from a plate standpoint. I mean, Landon Harston's good at 413 from the plate, and then Nuva Contreras at 373. Everybody else is, a fairly average 1 to 300 level hitter. So it's a team that Ole Miss very much can beat. I mean, the type of competition that Ole Miss has faced. Another big question, guys, is who's Ole Miss going to throw? And in years past, we've talked about Hunter Elliott a lot on this show. I do think there's an opportunity to throw Taylor Rabe. Taylor Rabe is someone that you guys might have seen on Friday night that pitched so well against Alabama. He threw really well the previous weekend, and he is Ole Miss's number one arm right now. The question is will Mike make the decision to go with Taylor over Hunter? We asked him in the media availability on Monday. He said, look, Joel Mangrum, the pitching coach, and I have to go through and kind of look at Arizona State, depending on what their lineup's going to be. Mike's a big left-right-hander guy, and so I think that's going to play into it. At the end of the day, I think Taylor Rabe gives Ole Miss its best chance to win, in my personal opinion, regardless of what side of the plate Arizona State's hitting from. As you guys really know, and everyone listening and watching, the key to a regional is getting to 2-0.
Yeah.
However you do it. Doesn't matter how you do it. If you're playing for game 2, I don't care what the opponent or who the opponent is, if you lose that first game, it is a brutal, brutal run for the rest of the weekend because you have to play the next morning at 9:30 or whenever it is, the next game, and it's just a tough, tough road. So I think getting that first one, and to me, Taylor Rabe gives Ole Miss the best chance to win.
Well, and I do think it matters in baseball, though, when you're hot. And Rabe is shooting up the draft boards, and he's just – he was completely dominant against Alabama. He's been completely dominant for the last few weeks. He's really throwing the ball well. And to me, like you made the great point. We talked about it yesterday when we were talking Bama. We talked to Rob Vaughn. It's so important to get to 1-0 and then to 2-0 because when you're having to win your way out of the loser's bracket, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, and one thing, too, is you'll have to fill me in if Coach Vaughn's playing the first game or the second game. But we asked –
second, yeah.
I got you. A lot of teams, Mississippi State included, they're playing that opening game. And I think there's pros and cons to that. Right. I think there's a weather element as, in Nebraska – tomorrow, I think there's like a 60% chance of rain from 3 till 6, and then the next day I think it's 50. So there could be some weather in Lincoln. So I do think that's important to kind of look at that. But on the flip side, I like what Mike Bianco said. And he said, this stadium was built by fans that came to watch us play, and we've always been the type team to where we're going to play at night to reward our fans. And we don't think that, I'm speaking kind of in my opinion here, but I don't think 3 hours is going to, change Mike's decision process. Now, Nebraska is playing the first game against South Dakota State, and Ole Miss is going to be playing the second game against Arizona State. Of course, we talked about it at 8. So I think that's something at play. You start talking about the late game, and if it rains, or do you start it then? Do you play into the midnight? Do you start it tomorrow early? I say tomorrow, you start it Saturday early. So those are things that are going to be at play. But at the end of the day, it's a very difficult region. But I tell people a lot, they're all difficult. I mean, there may be some on paper that are maybe not as difficult. I mean, who thought Murray State would come in and just run roughshod over the regional in Oxford last year, Georgia Tech included? And so we knew Murray was really good and white hot, but you really didn't anticipate them to come in and just win the regional, and kind of the rest is history. So you never know what happens. At the end of the day, I kind of like the draw. I like how Ole Miss's pitching sets up against Arizona State and Nebraska as I've kind of dug through those lineups. So we'll see if Nebraska wins their game tomorrow, and then if Ole Miss and Nebraska can meet on Saturday. I think that's the ultimate goal for Ole Miss to get to 2-0.
Brad Logan joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline as well as WZZN TV this morning. Brad, you kind of summed up the whole season for Ole Miss, some up and downs then. So then what should be an expectation for this Ole Miss team in this regional play? Is it making it to the regional finals? Is that acceptable, or do they have to win, or should they be expected to win this regional?
Well, Scott, honestly, Swayze Field, a beautiful facility, 10,000 plus, was built to host regionals, and not hosting a regional in Oxford is a failure.
Okay.
And I don't think anybody, whether in administration, coaching, player-wise, will tell you any different. And I think I won't go through the kind of the scenarios of how Ole Miss had the opportunity to host, but I think if you go through those and you feel like Ole Miss had that opportunity and did do that, I mean that's obviously a failure. But there's nothing you can do about that. And so now your question is, what is the ultimate goal at this point? Well, it's to get to Omaha. And how can you get to Omaha? It starts by going 2-0 in a very difficult region. And the good news, if there is good news, I'm a huge fan of Butch Thompson at Auburn. I think whenever Mike was in his the time of his career to where Ole Miss was not happy. I mean, it was the 22 season. They had to go to LSU and sweep to barely get into the tournament. Things weren't great in Oxford. Butch Thompson was a name that we were hearing a lot that could possibly come to Ole Miss. So there's a reasons behind that. Butch Thompson was obviously an assistant at Mississippi State. He grew up in nearby Amory, Mississippi. So I have a lot of respect for Butch and how he handles his program, not to mention they're a really good team. So that's going to be a tough out winning that Super Regional. I think coming into the season, I said Ole Miss hosting a regional, maybe go on the road for a Super, maybe not get to Omaha, but if you get to a Super, I think it's probably a successful season. So I do think that is attainable. I think they can win this regional. I don't know if they can beat Auburn on the road. Now, I think if you're an Ole Miss fan, you're really pulling for NC State and UCF, but because then you would have Super Regional play in Oxford against one of those teams. But I think it's going to be a tough road against Auburn if Ole Miss can win its regional in Lincoln.
Well, and let's not forget they were the last team in when they won the national championship, no doubt in 22, and I think they were a 3 seed in Coral Gables, and they certainly played exceptionally well, and then got hot, went to Southern Miss in a very difficult place to play, and won that very impressively. And we know what happened in Omaha, so certainly Coach B's capable of getting it done. We know that, and he's done it and won a national championship. And certainly, he's been here before. He won it as a player, or he was on great teams at LSU. Pardon me, so he's done it both as a player and coach. So I think that matters. Pedigree matters. He's been through it, and so it is a tough one. But the very important thing is game one. And I do think the strength of this Ole Miss team, and it's what I was impressed with watching the series against Alabama. They've got outstanding starting pitching, and then they've got some big time arms in the bullpen, and that's what you need. And certainly they hit the ball, and they've got a lot of power in the lineup. But the arms are what matters, and that's what's going to be the key this weekend.
It's been up and down this year at the plate. Right fielder Tristan Massetta at one point was batting .380, had 20 home runs, leading the team. He just kind of fell off a cliff, just went to a bad slump. And then Austin Fawley, kind of the same way. Fawley is one of the best hitters on the team, the starting catcher for Ole Miss, and I would argue probably the best defensive catcher in college baseball. He just struggled at the plate, but his bat's got much, much better, and that's good for Ole Miss. Macetta's kind of turned it around. Judd Udemark's kind of been up and down, the third baseman. Will Furness been pretty steady at the plate, the first baseman. Owen Pano kind of up and down. So I think they need to put it all together, obviously, because I think everything we've talked about today goes back to what Scott was saying. It's a really difficult regional, and once again, they're all difficult, but I do think this is a very tough one, and if they can get out of it, you have to like Ole Miss's chances to be competitive against Auburn.
Well, obviously a lot to talk about on the baseball side, Brad, a lot to talk about with SEC spring meetings because we've heard from Pete Golding. We've heard from a lot of people there in Destin. Your thoughts on what you've heard from the spring meetings so far?
I like what Matt Hayes said, and he obviously writes for USA Today. I thought Matt wrote a really good column and basically said, nobody's talking about Ryan Silverfield or nobody's talking about Jeff Levy, and nobody's really talking about, for the most part, Eli Drinkwitz and Will Klein. I don't know. I think I'm right saying his name right in Kentucky. They're all talking about Pete Golding, Kalen DeBoer. They're all talking about Will Muschamp. No, I'm sorry, not Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart. And the reason is those are all coaches that are winning. Those are all coaches that are on top of the mountain. And I like what Matt said when he talked about, right now, Pete Golding's kind of the punching bag. He's the new kid on the block. He's got more playoff wins than Lane Kiffin. He's got more playoff wins than a lot of coaches in the conference. Now, one could argue that the reason he was in that position was in large part because of Lane Kiffin. I'm not going to argue that. I think there's a lot of truth to that. But at the end of the day, you had to roll the ball out there. You had to call the right plays, and you had to win the games. And they beat one of the best teams in the country last year in the Sugar Bowl in Georgia, and then went toe-to-toe with Miami and was 1 or 2 plays away from playing in a national championship. So I kind of lean on the side of, Pete Golding's handled himself really well. He's answered all the questions. He hasn't dodged anything. And he's standing up for himself, most importantly. But he's also standing up for his players. He's standing up for the University of Mississippi. And I think that's a lot of what Ole Miss fans appreciate. And honestly, they appreciate his honesty. And not to say that there's been dishonesty going around, but there's been a lot of dishonesty going around. And having a coach that will stand at a podium or stand in front of media and be straight up with them, it's very refreshing, honestly, for the media corps and I think for the Ole Miss fans. But I think Pete handled himself really well yesterday at spring meetings. I look forward to seeing you guys in Tampa, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more to talk about. Hopefully not a ton's going on. I mean, I had a conversation with someone in the national media yesterday, and he said, I hope nothing crazy happens today. You had the legislation by Senator Cruz and the other representative in the United States Senate. And so you've got all that going on. You've got Greg Sankey. And again, I know we won't have enough time to get into this, but I don't think this is the greatest days for Greg Sankey. I think he's kind of in the crosshairs a little bit, forcing the 9-game schedule and now having his coaches come out and say, hey, I'm not so sure I like this 9-game schedule. So to be fair to Commissioner Sankey, that was done a couple of years ago to combat the Big Ten. At the end of the day, he's left hand in the bag, and he's having to defend that. So it'll be interesting. SEC Media Day, I think, will be a little more interesting than it ever has before. And, of course, they would have it in Tampa, Florida, not in Birmingham when it's so easy to get to. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But kind of circling back, Scott, I think Pete did wonderful yesterday, and I think he definitely represented the University of Mississippi very well.
Well, Brad, we always appreciate the time. We look forward to following the Rebels in Lincoln, Nebraska, as you said, they take the field tomorrow night, hopefully weather permitting, against a really talented Arizona State team. But just let everybody know how to follow you, and I know you and Ben Garrett and that whole staff over there will be all over the coverage. Yeah, we got Jake Thompson is in Lincoln now, and he'll be covering all of the happenings in Lincoln. And we're, of course, at the Ole Miss Spirit. That's omspirit.com, an affiliate of On3. And then we'll have wall-to-wall coverage from SEC Media Days in a month or so down in Tampa, live shows. And we're going to come talk to you guys and hope we can visit and have a great meal and kind of talk some SEC football. And I always appreciate the invite. You guys do a wonderful job. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks,
appreciate
Brad.
you, man, very much.
All right, let's get a break in, shall we? Phone lines back open to you. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. I know your accident is the real thing, and they happen to real people.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. There's a lot of talk right now about bigger, but when you've had a wreck, is bigger better?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. Do you want to be just a case number?
With offices in Huntsville and Scottsboro, we take the time to help.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Abraham here for my longtime friend Mike Owen of Owen Home Appliance. You know, Mike has over 25 years experience in the appliance industry, and since 2017, Owen Home Appliance has served customers in the Tennessee Valley with a focus on quality products, affordable prices, and excellent customer service. Owen Home Appliance prides themselves on community involvement as well, sponsoring local teams and events while making sure that you get the right appliance at the right price. Visit their highly interactive showroom in Lacey Springs, just 8 miles south of the river on 231.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Before you build, know the ground beneath you. OMI Incorporated has been North Alabama's trusted name in geotechnical engineering for over 30 years. We provide subsurface investigations, environmental consulting, and construction materials testing to keep your project moving forward with confidence. Commercial, industrial, and public projects, OMI has the experience to get it right. OMI Incorporated. Experience below the surface. Visit omi-eng.com or call 256-837-7664.
Cummins has kept the world running for more than 100 years. Since their founding in 1919, Cummins has been dedicated to leading the charge towards a future with smarter, cleaner power. Cummins sales and service locations are right where you need them when you need your engine or generator set service. And now, Cummins has a new Huntsville branch opening June 10th. They're located on Highway 31 in Tanner, just north of Calhoun College. Cummins expert technicians will keep you up and running. Call them at 205-808-2210.
I would like to declare a burger war on zone deals with Five Guys Burgers and Fries and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, and may the best burger win. Just head over to 977espn.com and click on the zone deals and decide for yourself.
There you go. Welcome back in. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the program. We've got a lot of stuff still to get through here on the show. We are, well, it's 9:20. We're moving right along. I did see this yesterday, and it's only worth just mentioning it. Athlon Sports has released or put out their magazine for the new year. And I just glanced at, there's a lot of interesting articles in the magazine itself, but they did do their projected order of finish in the SEC and in the Big Ten of every conference in there. They did a projected order of finish. We will get our say in this when we go to SEC Media Days in July. But Athlon Sports picked Georgia number 1, Texas number 2.
Interesting, yeah.
Oklahoma number 3, Texas A&M 4, LSU 5, Ole Miss 6, and Alabama number 7. Other teams of note, Tennessee 8, Florida 9, Auburn 12, Mississippi State 13, Arkansas 16. That's where they put the Razorbacks. They're at the very bottom of the league. For the Big Ten, they go Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, Michigan, your top 4, followed by USC, Washington, Penn State, and then Iowa. Those are your top 8 or 9 there in the Big Ten. So there you go.
More than any other now, predictions, I never liked them anyway, and that's why half the time I don't even vote in the damn preseason poll because I can't stand it. I think voting pre-conference, like he was a preseason all-SEC pick. Who cares?
Lenoris Sellers.
And then, and I told you that was going to be a flop because he got Shulid. And then, and I'm just telling you, I don't even like picking the teams because especially now with the transfer portal and NIL and all that crap.
Right.
You never know from year to year how good a team is going to be. Now, you have a pretty good idea with Georgia because of their stability and their consistency under Kirby Smart. But, hell, I don't think you can say Texas is going to definitively be number 1 or number 2. What the hell were they last year with their $40 million payroll?
They were picked to win it, I believe, last year. Weren't they picked? I think it was reversed. I think Texas was 1, Georgia was 2.
And they were picked to be a lock to make the playoff and maybe win the national championship. Did they come close to any of that? I mean, Arch Manning was supposed to win the Heisman Trophy. Did he come close to that?
I don't think so. Well, no.
He improved.
Because remember, they opened up the season at Ohio State, and there was a lot of questions about the offense even after week 1, after their first game, when they go on the road at Ohio State, and the offense, I think did they score late or didn't score at all? One of the two?
No, it was 14-7. But
they scored late,
But still, and it was an ugly game. But I'm just saying, you can't put a whole lot of stock in the predictions. Is all and who knows? Alabama may be a middle of the pack team in the SEC, or they may be an upper half. And what I mean by that is top 3 or 4, which means you're a contender for the national championship. You don't know. I mean, Auburn may surprise some people. Most all of it is they predicted on what happened last year and how things ended. And, and even though Alabama beat Oklahoma the second time, Oklahoma's returning John Mateer. Alabama doesn't have an established quarterback. And people seem to think that, that's going to be an issue for Alabama. They didn't seem to think that when they still picked Alabama in the top 4 or 5 last year when Ty Simpson hadn't taken a meaningful snap. And I'll be blunt. I think both quarterbacks Alabama's got right now are more talented than Ty Simpson. And I'm not belittling Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson was a first-round pick and should have been. I don't give a rat's ass what some other yahoo says that he shouldn't have been, because I think he was good enough when he was healthy to be one. And Kalen DeBoer is a true quarterback developer.
Right.
Now we'll see if Ryan Grubb is a good enough play caller. That's another issue. And I think Grubb has a lot to prove this year, because last year was rough, but he's going to have to step it up. So, but again, I don't, to me, especially now in this era of where college football is, you need to see everybody for 2 or 3 weeks to get a pretty good idea of how good they are. Like, I'm fascinated. I'm going to be glued to the television. By the way, I know we've been talking about the times of the games. Forgive me, Scott. But Alabama's third game, I know they certainly
2:30 game with Florida State.
That's what I thought. It's 2:30, and I'm certainly glad of that, because I'm going to be glued somehow, whether it's on the drive home or whatever. I definitely want to be following and seeing that Auburn-Florida game, because that could be a fork in the road game for both teams, because certainly, what Alex Golesh is trying to do is turn Auburn into a consistent winner again.
Right.
And get them back contending in the SEC and contending for playoff berths. And then John Summerall, the Gators, they want consistency and they want to be a contender again, because they really haven't been one since 2020 during the COVID season when Clown Mullen nearly beat Alabama. But after that, they fell back, and they really haven't been a contender since. So, but John Summerall, I think he's got a lot of material, and it's going to be really interesting. That's 2 first-year coaches. And don't forget, they're not ever going to admit it, but we all know what was going on behind the scenes. John Summerall was the top choice at Auburn, and it didn't work out.
Right. And remember, John Summerall even said yesterday, kind of alluding to it a little bit, saying that, look, if any other school came to him and said, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're not going to be able to coach in the program, you're not going to be able to coach in the postseason with your team, he didn't want that school.
Nope.
And, I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just not saying that's what happened.
You're going to have DJ Durkin as your DC, because that's exactly what happened. I'm going to say it. Don't care if anybody gets mad, because that's exactly what happened.
And look, I know week 3, and we mentioned the fact that week 3 is LSU at Ole Miss, and you got Florida State at Alabama, and you got Florida at Auburn. I'm just saying right now, I think a game that'll go, not deciding playoffs, but a game that'll go a long way in deciding which avenue this team goes is that Mississippi State-South Carolina game, that week 3. Because Mississippi State, remember, last year they got off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, they were 3 or 4-0, yeah.
Yeah. And they had that home win over Arizona State last year, got off to a really good start. South Carolina, as you have referred to it millions of times, got shulaed because they had Mike Shula as the offensive coordinator. But South Carolina did not live up to expectations last year. This year, what are they going to do? Because Lenore Sellers is back. What does Jeff Lebby do this year for Mississippi? I think that game there, that Mississippi State-South Carolina game is a big game.
Fired.
Could be.
Let's just say it.
It could be. It could start that direction where if you lose that ball game, you will be fired. Not after week 3, but you will be fired.
So are you saying that Shane Beamer could end up being the tight ends and special teams coach under Uskar Franklin?
Shane Beamer could be on his way out if he loses that ball game at home.
Yeah. Well,
because the fan bases showed up still. I think that fan base is teetering there at South Carolina.
Well, I wouldn't mind having Shane Beamer on Alabama staff, to be honest with you. I mean,
I think the loser of that ball game, that Mississippi State South Carolina game, is because it's not gonna get easier for any one of them.
I mean,
on the road.
No disrespect to Jay Nunez, the special teams coach, but I certainly would rather have Shane Beamer.
I'm just saying, the loser needs to check to see what time the Greyhound bus is departing, because they're going to be on.
But Shane will get a lot of money to go away.
Yeah. All right, we got to get a break in, because when we come back, we're not going away. Jeff Drummond will be with us. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky again this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 80s. It is also going to be incredibly humid across the Tennessee Valley. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible at any given point during the afternoon, the evening, and then as we head into the overnight, temperatures drop into the upper 60s. Upper 70s for your Friday. Better opportunity for widespread rain.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ending the morning on a great note. We don't have any accidents or stalls creating any major problems. They may still be sweeping up glass at Alabama 53 Jordan Lane and Stringfield Road from an accident there involved an overturned vehicle. But everything else is looking absolutely beautiful, looking great through 565 to the construction area. And we don't have any delays up over 72 at Chapman Mountain headed towards Scottsboro or back in again. And you're looking great from Ardmore also. You do have a little bit of heavy traffic in the Madison area right around Walter-Anna, but it is actually moving smoothly at this time. We're also looking good from Decatur to Huntsville, from Athens to Huntsville, with no major delays. Keep up the good work. Keep those seatbelts buckled. Have a blessed day, and I'll be back with you this afternoon with the most accurate traffic report in the Tennessee Valley. I'm David Cruz, Mr. Traffic.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Cummins has kept the world running for more than 100 years. Since their founding in 1919, Cummins has been dedicated to leading the charge towards a future with smarter, cleaner power. Cummins sales and service locations are right where you need them when you need your engine or generator set service. And now, Cummins has a new Huntsville branch opening June 10th. They're located on Highway 31 in Tanner, just north of Calhoun College. Cummins expert technicians will keep you up and running. Call them at 205-808-2210. Tom Abraham here for my friends at All About Water. Crazy name, huh? Well, let me introduce you to them. All About Water is the top pond builder anywhere in the Tennessee Valley, and that includes remodeling or cleaning out existing ponds as well. They also have monthly maintenance plans for your pond. Don't have a pond? Well, how about a fountain or water feature for your property to bring that soothing sound of running water to your happy place? On the other hand, maybe you have water on your property that you don't want. Well, Ryan at All About Water is all about water, so he could take care of that as well. He has a background in fluid dynamics, and what that means is that he could take care of any water issue that you have. Finally, how about that irrigation system that you have or that you want? Well, they do installs and maintenance and repairs on those as well because they are all about water. Learn more at allaboutwaterllc.com. That's allaboutwaterllc.com.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. Only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, 9:34 here on Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We had a lot of stuff to get through, and we had a lot of stuff still to get through here. And a lot of that centers around Kentucky baseball and Kentucky basketball because we talked about those leaving the those that are keeping their names, I should say, in the college basketball world, not going into the NBA draft. One of those is an Iowa State player who, by the way, Kentucky has a lot of interest in.
Yeah, I know. This is we're certainly going to talk about a lot of Kentucky Batcats with our next guest. He does a great job, and we have a really good relationship with KSR, Kentucky Sports Radio, via On3 and Rivals. But he does an outstanding job covering the Kentucky Wildcats and has so since 1999. And he's part of, as we said, KSR. And that's Jeff Drummond, and he's been good enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jeff, you're with Drew and Scott here in Huntsville, Alabama. How are you, man?
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Hey, I really appreciate your time. I was watching you guys, your crew, and we know Jack Pilgrim really well, and we were watching the coverage last night. I guess it was almost like finally, I know there was some consternation yesterday in the middle of the afternoon that everybody thought Milan Momlinovic might stay in the draft, but he has now removed himself. And as I was telling Scott off the air, this is a guy Kentucky wants desperately.
Yeah, you have to put yourself in the mindset of the Kentucky fan base right now, Big Blue Nation. That's a dangerous place to be sometimes.
Right.
But this is probably in all the years that I've been doing this, and I go back much longer than people. They're always surprised when I tell them I started doing this when I was about 16 or 17, and covered recruiting. The first recruit I can really remember in terms of coverage was Jamal Mashburn.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Wow.
And
okay,
so that gives you a basic idea of almost 30 years of it. I don't think I've seen a guy when it came to Kentucky where people, their mindset was, we have to have this guy or it's over.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Is that
it's kind of like that right now? Yeah.
Is that because of everything that they didn't get?
Yes, I think so, because they've got a pretty nice roster right now. It's not a roster by Kentucky standards that a lot of people think can win at the level that's expected here. But it's a solid group. It's just the fact that they have missed on so many people. And they've gotten kind of to the finish line and been beaten out by a nose, to put it in horse racing terms around here. that just the psychological effect of that, losing out on so many guys they've been in really close with is taking its toll. And Mark Pope needs this one to show people that he can get the deal done.
Well, and we're talking to Jeff Drummond of KSR via Rivals and On3. And it's not so much because we know Kentucky has the money. They certainly put together a great roster last year and spent heavily and always will. It's been more people questioning whether young men and guys in the portal and these agents trust Mark Pope and his ability to get Kentucky where they want to go. Would that be considered correct?
Yeah, I think so. There's just something that's been a little bit off when it comes to, putting the name on the paper at the end. All these guys seem to like Mark Pope.
Right.
And he's gotten a lot of guys to campus, and they've said good things about him in interviews, whether it was them or their agent. But something has gone kind of off the tracks at the very end of this, and we're not exactly sure what that is yet. Some people seem to think that he has oversold the fact that, hey, this is Kentucky. You should want to be here for the name across the front of the jersey, which has always been a big thing here in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That they've been able to sell to people the program and its tradition and its standards, sell the program. But it's a different deal now in the NIL era, and you have to make a different pitch that is directly to, I think, the individual player's needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't like NIL money related where Kentucky doesn't have the money to spend, is it?
I think it's about more, in my opinion. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, is it the other way?
Yeah.
No, they're going to be offering him a ridiculous amount of money.
$5 million plus,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, if it pushed $7 million in the end, depending on how much pressure they get from the last couple of schools, and who knows, some other people may try to jump into this late. But Kentucky is the one program, when you look at all the competition out there, that has every check box that he's looking for available, and a huge mountain of cash to offer. If they can't get this one done, I just don't know how they recover from it.
I think the main thing that's being used against Coach Pope, and I know that he won a national championship as a player at Kentucky, and I know he's gotten a lot of guys to campus, and I think he's done a pretty good job in his 2 years. I mean, he certainly hasn't gotten to a Final Four, and certainly the round of 32 is not what Kentucky's about, but he went to the Sweet 16 in year one. I think what's being used against him, maybe by the agents and some of the and maybe players that are doubting it, is when he was at BYU, he didn't turn out a ton of pro guys. And so far at Kentucky, that has groups his first year that was greater than the sum of their parts. I think they kind of overachieved. They did a great job, but still didn't have anybody reach that level. And I think his track record, he had a good one at BYU, but it wasn't elite. And I think that's kind of being used against him maybe. And maybe that's one of the reasons, because we all know Kentucky has as passionate a fan base as there is in college basketball, and we know they have as deep of pockets. So to me, you talked about it being a little off. I thought that was an interesting way to phrase it. I think that's part of what's being used against Coach Pope, I think.
Yeah, I think that could be the case. I think a lot of people like his X's and O's.
Yeah, we've heard that.
And
yes.
respect that.
Yes.
But there is a little bit of that he needs to prove he can develop a guy for the next level. It could be argued, though, that Amari Williams was a really good success story.
I thought he was. I liked watching him. Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, they get a guy from Drexel that nobody's ever heard of by way of England. And plays real well. And I think that actually helped them. We didn't mention him earlier, but helped them get Malachi Marino back.
Right.
Earlier this week, which was a huge piece of the puzzle. If you don't have Marino, getting Momcilovic isn't going to help you a great deal. But you get Marino back, and now you pair him with Momcilovic, and you've got a chance to be, I think, one of the top 10 teams in the country if you've got both those guys.
Wow, it sounds that way. And then,
do we know how long this might take? Is this going to be a fast courtship, you think, if they can get this done, or is this going to be a drawn out process?
Well, you would think coming out of the deadline to withdraw, that was the last major time hurdle I think involved. It just, I think, probably depends on his agent.
Okay.
We haven't heard much about the timetable and whether they feel like they can leverage, being that guy out there into a bigger deal somewhere. And that's just speculation on my part. I haven't talked to his representation. That's mostly like Jack and Jacob Polachek on our site handle most of those calls. But I would expect it to move here pretty soon. I know Kentucky would like to know ASAP. I don't even know if there's another like a plan B if this were to fall through, especially after Tunde, I believe, signed up with St. John's.
Yeah.
He was a guy they were still kind of looking at, but maybe that with him going to Rick Pitino and St. John's could even help with getting Milan to Lexington.
No doubt. And then, Jeff, to switch to the Batcats, I said that they should be nervous after they lost to Vanderbilt, because I thought if they won against Vanderbilt and even could have made a run, that it would have put the nail in the coffin for them to be in, especially if they had beaten Vandy. And it was kind of gut-wrenching the way they lost, because they had control of the game. They were up 4-1. They lose 8-5, I believe, and they dropped that game. But how and I like Nick Mingione. I think he's done a great job, and he's such a positive guy. I know you're around that program; you know it very well. How nervous were they going in to the selection show on Monday? And I know he sold it hard before the game in Hoover that he thought they were solidly in, but it looks like they were one of the last four in. How nervous was the wait?
Well, for both Nick and the players, they were extremely confident that they had done what they needed to do to get in. This fan base was an entirely different matter. You even had some people saying, "No, keep them out. They don't deserve it."
Right.
The fan base was very torn about it because this was an emotional up and down season, and that Vanderbilt game in the SEC tournament was kind of a good snapshot of how the season was represented, in that you played great, you had complete control of this thing, and you kind of something happened at the end that caused the thing to just get off the rails, and they couldn't get it done. And that was how almost every SEC series went. They were really close, I think, to being a regional host had they taken care of business in games you quote unquote should have won.
Right.
I'm sure everybody in the SEC probably has a handful of games they think they should have won, but Kentucky's were a pretty good list, and that most of it came down to bullpen play. That's their Achilles heel, and that's going to be their chances of advancing in this Morgantown regional probably depends on whether the bullpen can get outs and not be self-destructive.
Well, that you look at that regional, and I mean, they travel to Morgantown, West Virginia. What else do we know about what have you been able just to kind of dissect about this region?
Well, it's interesting. I think when you heard the selection show move along, and they did it in order, the regions and how those posts were ranked.
Mm-hmm.
So they get down to 16, and Kentucky was one of the last 4 teams in. It's just kind of a weird pairing. We're used to, in basketball terms, you wouldn't see like a team, one of the last teams in, getting the weakest on paper, so to speak, of the regional hosts. So I think a lot of Kentucky fans started looking at it and saying, hey, if things fall in the right direction, this might be a region we can do some work in and get a chance to go play, presumably, number 1 UCLA in the Supers. But I think the draw win is, from that regard, as well as it could have gone for Kentucky. Not to take anything away from those other teams, but any other region that they fell into was probably going to be a tougher task than this one.
Yeah, and it's an interesting matchup with Wake Forest. They've had a lot of success in the last decade or so, certainly reached Omaha in the College World Series. But that's going to be, I think, kind of an interesting matchup. And the day will be getting started early. You play, it's an 11 a.m. first pitch, weather permitting, but an interesting matchup with Wake Forest for the Batcats.
Yeah, it is. And, I assume that Wake will be throwing its ace. Chris Levanis has got outstanding numbers on the season. One of the things that jumps off the page at you is those 110 strikeouts and 68 in a third innings. Misses a lot of bats. I think opponents hit like 175 against him on the season. So that's a tough assignment, and it leads to the big question for Kentucky. Who do you throw for game 1? There's been a lot of debate in our area. You've got a legitimate ace in Jackson Jelkin.
Yes.
And that's probably the safest route for them to take. In this double elimination format, you want to stay out of that elimination bracket where you have to play just a gauntlet of games to get back to the championship. But then again, the number 1 seed is waiting there probably in game 2. And do you need Jackson Jelkin if you hope to beat West Virginia? So, people point to the Tennessee series. Nick Mingione elected to go with Ben Cleaver in game 1. And Ben struggled almost all season long with his command. His other numbers were pretty good, but he just couldn't get, out of the third inning. Sometimes he couldn't get out of the first or the second inning. Just the pitch count stacked up. That started to change around the time of the Tennessee series. Nick pitched him in game 1. He was dynamite. I think he pitched 6 or 7 just brilliant innings. Jackson Jelkin pitched game 2, and Kentucky won that series. It was only one or two series they won all year long in league play.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the formula. So I kind of think there's a chance you could see him put Cleaver out there first, hope things go well, and then have Jackson Jelkin for that West Virginia matchup.
That would be very interesting. And then, as we've said, it's so key in these regionals to winning game one and then hopefully getting to 2-0, putting the pressure on everyone else. And, of course, West Virginia is super excited to host this Morgantown Regional. But Kentucky certainly not intimidated and played in the best conference in the country. And, as you said, very confident and didn't get swept all year. So they've competed well with everyone, swept Alabama to open SEC play. Well, Jeff, we appreciate the time. We know you got a very busy schedule. Let everybody know about the coverage. You guys will be all over the regional, I know, covering that Morgantown Regional. And, of course, the Momlinovich watch is going to be hit refresh every 5 minutes or so with Momlinovich. But let everybody know how to follow you guys.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a split screen going for all that stuff for our basketball crazies. But you can find all of our work at KSR on the On3 network, and you can find my links to all of that and some of my other commentary on all the social media platforms. I go by J Drum UK there if people want to follow that.
You mean there's crazy Kentucky basketball fans?
Well, it's just like Alabama.
I know.
Football,
It's everywhere.
I know. It's shocking.
Well, hey, you know what? Before you go, last week we did get a chance to catch up with Will Stein. He was very conscious and very, very kind with his time. And he told us, and I knew he had connections, family connections to the UK, even though he played at Louisville. He was one of those crazies. He admitted it to us.
He is crazy, let me tell you. And I cannot describe the kind of energy that he's pumped into this place football-wise.
Yeah.
I have more people right now talking to me about football than either, baseball which is in season, or basketball, which is a year-round season for Kentucky fans. But right now, football is the talk of the town.
Wow. That's impressive.
That really is impressive. And he's a very energetic guy. He was a very good interview, and he's very confident in himself and his vision for Kentucky football, that's for sure. And that game with Alabama coming up in week 2 is going to be very interesting when they come to Lexington and Kroger Field. But we're looking forward to that as well. But, again, Jeff, really appreciate the time, and hope we can catch up again soon. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get that final break in, shall we? We'll wrap today's extravaganza up next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hey, I'm Bobby White, and our employee pricing for everyone is in high gear right now at Lynn Layton Ford in Decatur. That's right, everyone in the Tennessee Valley can get our special Ford employee pricing on over 280 available new Fords. Save up to $15,000 off MSRP on remaining new 25 F-150s and up to $8,000 off MSRP on new 25 Broncos. With your good credit, you can save thousands with financing as low as 0% on select new models. And always remember, Lynn Layton Ford will never charge you any mysterious dock fee or some hidden markup. It's simple. You pay what we pay on 280 new Fords. That's right, $15,000 off MSRP on new 25 F-150s, $8,000 off MSRP on new 25 Broncos, or lock in 0% financing on select new models. Come see us at Lynn Layton Ford, right in the heart of Ford country, just a mile south of the Beltline in Decatur, or online anytime at lynnlaytonford.com.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Ross Roberts and his team at Valley Equipment Rental, and they have a brand new product for you. If you happen to be standing on a concrete or tile floor, Valley Equipment has the perfect cleaning solution for you. Whether it's new construction, daily work areas, or an area that's been neglected for too long, the Valley Equipment team of experienced professionals can help you choose the right floor scrubber or sweeper for your needs. Valley even has the right cleaning products for the job. Call Valley Equipment Rental today to learn more. Make a clean sweep with Valley Equipment Rental.
Before you build, know the ground beneath you. OMI Incorporated has been North Alabama's trusted name in geotechnical engineering for over 30 years. We provide subsurface investigations, environmental consulting, and construction materials testing to keep your project moving forward with confidence. Commercial, industrial, and public projects, OMI has the experience to get it right. OMI Incorporated. Experience below the surface. Visit omi-eng.com. or call 256-837-7664.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Well, we've just about fulfilled our requirement of 3 hours. We're back at it tomorrow. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow on the show,
AEW in the
AEW Wrestling will be here in the house.
And we will be giving away some
Speedball
tickets.
Mike Bailey will be with us tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. He's going to be here from 7 to 7:15, 7:18. He's got to leave by 7:20. But he's going to be with us tomorrow morning on the show. He's got a schedule, but we are his first stop of the morning.
There you go.
And we'll give away some more tickets to the show tomorrow. But you and I are going to talk something we have never done before and probably never will do again. We're going to talk wrestling tomorrow. This will be fun. Maybe.
Exciting.
Hopefully.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
The Atlanta Braves are back in action at Fenway Park this afternoon. They'll take on the Red Sox. Chris Sale starts for Atlanta. He's 7-3. ERA is below 2. The Braves are coming off of a shutout loss yesterday. Atlanta is minus 143 on the money line entering today's matchup. Auburn baseball team opens up regional play tomorrow. They'll take on Milwaukee at